if he does Kiambu County, how does he plan to influence, or how does he essentially hope to, leave an imprint in the budgetary process? How does he hope to ensure that some of his strategies are implemented in the budget making process? For example, as far as, for example, cutting the 10% of county budgetary allocation that is going into travel, unscrupulous loans financing for cars and mortgages for MCAs, which is he seems to see as unnecessary. How does he hope to influence the budgetary process so that his own strategies can be implemented, so that work for the Kiambu people can be made?
Bonnie.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So I hope you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so listen, so that was a very, very good question. If you look at any of our counties, right, what happens in the budget setting process reflects a lot about the philosophy and the ambitions of the governor. The governor is able to appoint people into his cabinet that set the agenda for the county in terms of where to deliver services, where to improve the county infrastructure, where to develop things like that. So when you're the governor, you can appoint people. That's the starting point of your imprint on what the county does. And so the second thing I would say is that the previous speaker talked about the issues that we have in terms of the people that are working in these counties. Kiambu is a place where, because I've spent a lot of time looking at hiring practice of Kiambu, many of the places that work in Kiambu, I saw one department where 75% of the people that work there never apply for a job. They work there, they never apply for a job. When the auditor traced for this particular department, when these people started working, when job advertisements were placed as required by law, they find out that many of these places or many of these positions were advertised a month after people started working. That tells you what? It tells you that many of the people that are working in these places acquire these jobs illegally, oftentimes without any qualifications. And so the whole place is corrupt, basically. So my first order of business will be to make sure that we start afresh. I want people that work in these governments to make sure that they understand what their role is in that county. If you're working in the, for example, department that handles applications for example, development, your job is there to serve people, to serve citizens, to serve businesses. Your job is not to go there and use that office as a way for you to sort of extort people. So I will start with a clean slate. I will fire almost everybody, other than places where you absolutely can't do that for purpose of making sure that there's continued services. But I will fire the vast majority of the people, and I would start hiring people that reflect the philosophy that I'm talking about, which is what? Which is when you're working for the government, your job is to serve people. When you're working in public service, it's not for you to make money, right? You're serving citizens. So the people that will be working for me, by and large, I will be involved in the hiring to make sure that that philosophy, because to me, that what you're trying to change is the culture, is that when you walk into that office next month and you apply for something, you shouldn't have to know somebody. You should not have to know somebody to get approval for something. Why is that normal? Why have we normalized that I need to know someone? It should matter to you, to the people that work in that county, who you are. You walk in, we tell you need X, Y, Z. If there's a fee, you pay the fee, and then we are efficient and we provide you with what you need. That's what we need. We need to change the culture. So when you're governor, you have a lot of power to appoint people that reflect that philosophy. You have the ability to have people that reflect that philosophy, and that's one of the things I would do.
Right. Watu wa Kiambu wamepata chance ya kuongea na governor aspirant. Hao watu wengine mko wapi? I know we had also other people who are looking to be leaders in various places. You can also request the microphone and come here and let people hear your thoughts, and as they help you also shape your policies and plans. Usikae tu kwa nyumba unasema hata mimi ninataka leader, but you're not there when people want you to come out and talk. So please come out. I see Severan Philip asema collapse akaja downfall 40% of city county staff from one tribe. Yes, of course, there's also that issue of tribalism, nepotism. Counties have become nepotism hubs where husbands, wives, and sons sit down and shape policies of a county. I really want to know if Boni, you will do the same with your relatives, but of course, it seems like it is the Kenyan norm that if you get power, your family must also get to be in power somewhere, or it is not possible. So yeah, I don't know what would you say when it comes to addressing the nepotism and of course the issue of ghost workers. If you have noticed, you're really addressing because you've said you want to cut down to 30% of that amount that is going to to salaries. So how about that, the nepotism side?
All of these are changes that you need. So the point of cutting salary is not to be mean to people. It is to say that if you're gonna go and work in government, right, you have to understand that government is supposed to serve people. You do not go to government to make the highest income that you can make. If that's your goal, if that's your objective, go work in the private sector. You start your own business, right? I can continue doing what I'm doing. If my goal is to make the most money that I can make, I don't have to leave what I'm doing. I love what I do. I work for one of the best companies in the world, in one of the best countries in the world. I don't have to leave what I'm doing if my objective is to make money. And I tell that to anybody else. If you're gonna go and work for the county government, I need you to understand that your primary motivation should not be to make money. It should be that you're impacting people's lives. So if you don't want to take that pay cut, you don't need to be there. Why is it that we are okay with, for example, a governor making 90 times, 100 times, 177 times the average citizen's income? Why is that okay? Like we should be mad as hell at something like that. It doesn't make sense. In Texas, where I live, right, the average citizen here makes about $78,000. Okay, $78,000. The governor of this state, which is the second richest state in the whole of the United States, with an economy that is 21 times bigger than Kenya. Texas economy alone is 21 times bigger than the whole of Kenya's economy. That governor makes 153,000, which is just shy of 2 times that income that I told you of the average citizen. If you look at most of the US, that's kind of like what you see, right? You don't see governors making 5 times or 10 times or 20 times or 100 times more than the average citizen because people are not going to stand for it. And so I'm telling you guys to reject that. So 30% is not, it should be acceptable. Nobody should even complain about it. Secondly, the issue of ghost workers is a big issue. I just told you that because I've spent a lot of time looking at Kiambu hiring practices, many of the people that work there, um, do not even apply for that jobs. They are sort of handpicked, and so it looks like a cartel. If you don't apply for a job, but you end up getting a job, how did that happen, right? So it's not, you don't have to be a genius to connect dots that people are going out and they're looking for some individuals and tell them I'm going to give you a job, and you need to give me X amount of money and then you get a job. So I will fire everybody like I told you and then start hiring. Kiambu, for example, is notorious for flouting rules. Our laws tell our county governments that they need to spend 30% of their money on development, right? They can spend 70% on services, but they need to allocate 30% on development. Guess what? Kiambu is a county that fails that often, very frequently. I think in 2022, 2023, Kiambu spent 86% of the budget. And again, that budget is 18 billion. They spend that 86% of that on services, paying people, right? That 14, 16% addition they spend on services is the amount that will have gone to your hospital, to the school, but they are paying people, right? So you can tell if a governor is fine with spending 86% of a budget of 18 billion on paying people and catering and buying cars for the governor, they don't understand that the point of the government is to provide services and development. And that's not something that we should be doing. In fact, that 30%, in my view, is very conservative. We should be spending more money, maybe 50% on development, And the other 50%, we should make sure that the salary component is very low, right? It should not be more than 15, 20%. We need to make sure we're spending more of our resources providing services. You cannot eat up 75% or 80% of the budget and act like you're serving people. You're not making any difference. So that's my response to that.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Bonnie. That response gets us to about 19 minutes to the top of the hour.
Social conversations, engaging topics on your phone anywhere. This is Home Run with PP.
Today I'm asking the simple question, mbona mimi kwa kiongozi? Kwa sababu I ask people, wewe mnasemanga we want to change our country. We can't change our country with the same people that are busy blowing it down. We need people who are different to do it. Are you the different voice? Come here, talk to us. Today we are giving you a chance to talk, and also the Mwananchi is asking you questions, fundamental questions on that. Karibu sana, hapa ni Home Run. Redemptor, habari yako? Redemptor, are you there? Thank you so much,
Yes.
Bonnie.
Yeah. Sorry, I was here. Sorry, I've asked for the mic, mapema, so that thank you for hosting another day, so that I ask Bonnie a question, more a submission and a question. Listening to your submission, you sound like a technocrat, and there's a time the government hired technocrats. They removed CEOs from big banks and brought them. That was the time they brought the Githongos and the rest. I feel like there's an element of entering and making enemies. Like when you promise I will fire, like that's a statement. You might be aiming for efficiency, transparency, and the end of nepotism, but at the end of the day, you not everyone who is there cannot function. And I'm saying this because I did ask those questions when there was a changeover in a few counties that I was also investigating. I was writing the story on public participation, and I was asking county executives in Makueni why they had been retained, because some of these places are very political. Also, you need your friends to be the ministers in your county. But when you say you will fire, oh, he's not even here, Amanda. When you say you will fire this, you will fire that, it means that everyone is now the enemy and incapable of delivering the dream that you have for the county. So is that a good place to start? So I feel like people who are very technical will deliver when it comes to the projects and budgets and the economic side of a county. But there's also the social aspect of a county. And anybody who is aspiring to be a leader in Kenya right now, the starting point, I would say, because I really, really do pray for a new Kenya where politicians are not bought for a small price. But I feel like if we do not spend energy studying the voter and the person you're going to serve, you'll come offering like what NGOs do. They come to a community and they want to say, I have a solution for this, I have a solution for this. Before you look back, you've lost everyone. I mean, the biggest example that is always given is the white man who came to a community and found they had no toilets and put up great toilets and came and said, I hope they will be as clean as I have left them. When he came back, they were clean, all right, because they had never been used. So it's an example that is given that before you come and offer super solutions to a community, find out what is working. Because I don't even believe in the employment and even in the employees, everyone is not working. So I was impressed in the case, I think, of Makueni. I found they had not fired a lot of people, the technocrats, because there was a new governor in town. So when you're seeking leadership, if you are one of the people seeking leadership, my appeal to you is that look at the social aspect of politicking. Yeah, when you say I will fire, ghost workers, I will fire, you already enter and make enemies. And I think we are trying to find allies in changing Kenya. So in as much as I don't see anybody else, there's a lot of enmity going on. It was people being pitted us against them. And that has been done on tribal lines. It's been done ODM, Jubilee, ODM, Kenya Kwanza, and any leader who is coming must heal the nation, must heal a ward, must heal the county if you're in the constituency. And also we need to start talking about leaders who would say, would you be an MP without CDF? then we can, because I keep saying this thing is so huge when we look at it from the ivory towers. We need to go back to mashinani. So those are my submissions. And just to wish everyone, someone is saying we shouldn't just come to space to talk. Honestly, spaces are for talking, and they are for therapy. But when it comes to real think tanks, you listen to people, listen to how they are reasoning, find out where they represent, and then mukutana nyuma ya tent. It's a very healthy way of us doing something new in Kenya in terms of campaigning, making strategies for a better country. Those are my submissions. Asante.
Asante sana, Redemptor. Of course, spaces are for talking. Yes, spaces are for talking. So let us talk. Kwa wale anataka kukua viongozi, this is a chance for you to come here and tell us what are you bringing to the table. Wanjira, I like your way of debating. Yeah? Naona swali umeuliza Boni hapo ya kwamba what are the neediest areas in Kiambu County, Boni? You want to know if he knows, right? No, ama kwetu ni mtu anakupiga chenga. I like that. That is how we should be asking questions to our leaders. Anyway, thank you so much, Redemptor, for that. I think Boni will be back in some time. But leaders, wale nyataka wakuja tuongeleshe. Imagine if this for the first time, Home Run with Pipi is letting you, a leader, a politician, to come and just talk. Bila kulipa pesa yoyote, just free for you to come and talk to your electorate. Wakulize maswali. How are you doing, Maggie?
Hello, everybody. Hello, thank you, Sir Peter. I've just been listening. I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you, but from afar. I think you're on Bluetooth or something. Maggie, unmute your mic.
Hello, sorry, I was talking with the mic unmuted. Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, so mine is just a quick one after the submissions. I've heard what Bonnie has said and the really good questions from Manjira and also what Redemptor said. And I think it's really important what Redemptor said because like us, from the diaspora, we see the problems and we want to come up with the solutions. But I think you need to realize it's the system. Some systems are broken. It's not really the people who are working in those systems, like what she was saying. So coming in, like I totally agree with what Bonnie was saying. There's some people who need to be laid off, but I think coming in with that mindset of getting rid of anybody, I think that would, to be honest, that will sort of isolate the movement. So I do feel like if we are in the right, like we're burning for a solution for our counties. Mine is I'm from the Taita Taveta County, and we see the problems in Taita Taveta. You see how the exploitation. I kind of feel my people have been left behind for so long. So there is problems. I feel like for me, I'd love to come in and be a representative, but also for myself, I can speak for myself and say I need that understanding of what's happening in the ground. 24 years being away and just traveling for a few for just holiday and stuff is not enough to actually understand what's happening in the ground. And I feel we need those people who are already in the ground and also us. So of networking and getting like-minded people, like one of your speakers who was talking, I think it's Jules. He was saying about finding like-minded people and sort of coming those hubs and empowering each other. And I think that's how we can come up with solutions. But I think there's an anger and there's like an annoyance when it comes to like when you see how much county like money is being just used inappropriately. You see there's a big need for change in Africa, and not just Kenya alone, for Africa in general, but I will focus with Kenya. But yeah, so for me, it's like I look at Taita Taveta and I want to bring in something. I want to come in with the voice of change, but I can't just do it with me being here. I need the people also who are there, who are experiencing the things firsthand. So I just wanted to say that like I kind of feel on my side I have a yearning to do something, but I have to look at all my everything around me. It's not easy to just come and travel and get a ticket back home. like there's so many things that, so it's like for me myself, I feel kind of like oppressed in a way, like I want to help but I can't help, and but I need, so I just feel, yeah, that's the only what I wanted to just contribute, guys. So thank you for this time. Thank you for Peter for the time.
All right. Thank you, Maggie. And I hope somebody from Taita Taveta gets to hear from you. And of course, you connect. I like people to come together and start building on networks as well. Because as you say, we are leaderless and all that. By the end of 2027, we look back and we see, oh, we didn't have anybody as an alternative. And that is the risk that we do if we do not let our own people also speak. We cannot say we don't want politicians to speak on our spaces when they are given chances in national TV. So hata sisi itabidi tu elevate watu wetu, tunawapatia chance ya kujiongea. Unasema mimi ni so and I want to run. Okay, let me see here on the comment section kama kuna mtu mwingine ameachilia swali or something. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is Homeland Pipi, and thank you so much for being here. Kiambu County imekuwa one of those counties may realize that they have never re-elected a governor. They've been bringing in new. Consistency much. Edwin Makoti said earlier on, I represent a large number of people na sio ati hatutaki kuvote, but if things will change, I don't have a problem waking up kuvote. Since nipate my ID, sijakosa kupiga kura, and I hope sitakosa. So that was us earlier on talking with Edwin about the essence of voting, and he had said he himself does not see the need of voting. Juza nikijuze, are you going to be voting ama pia unaona hakuna haja ya kuweka kura? Juice, are you there? Okay. Wanjira.
Yes, Pepe.
What do you feel? Because Edwin was telling us earlier on he doesn't feel the need of voting. Do you hold the same sentiment as him?
Pepe, you know me very well. That I think that right now there is no space and room for apathy. In fact, I think that the greatest enemies we have right now are the people that say that there is no need to vote, because like you have seen, staying neutral has not helped anybody, and even those that have voted and voted badly have also not helped anybody. So it is not just that I will vote, because that is number one. The people that are choosing not to vote are probably worse than even the people that voted badly or chose badly. Those are the people that get to sit on the sidelines and tell us, but singing ndo mlichagua Ruto. That is nonsense. You sat on the sideline, you sat on your vote when you could have voted for Raila. In fact, in an election where the winner slightly got over the margin because of a couple thousand votes, if all of the people that didn't vote banded together and voted for Raila, then we could be seeing seeing the alternative to what Ruto has brought us. So sitting on the sidelines and telling us that vote does not help anybody. There is no time for apathy. There's no time to say, but what can my vote do? Well, your vote can do away with Kimani Ichung'wah, who, will just stamp and tell us they will pass the finance bill whether we want to or not. That is what your vote can do. So I do not stand with the people that say that they will not vote. In fact, for me, it is not just voting, it is not voting with my head. Who was she? I think she's presently the member of parliament for Githongori, Gathoni wa Mushomba, who was telling people that, voters from the mountain vote with their heart. No. This round ataona, we will show them. Hakuna mambo yati we're voting with our heart, we're voting with our heads. Starting with her, who voted in mambo ya SHA, and she admitted that she did not know what SHA was or what SHIF was or what that shisha was. She did not know, but she voted it in. So hakuna mambo ya emotional voting. We're voting with our heads. We have seen what these clowns are putting us through, and will continue to put us through if we let them. So it is not just about we will not vote. We will vote, and we will vote them out, and we will vote with our heads. That is Pipi, wacha nisianze, but that is where I stand.
Asante sana. Naona Malia Davis is back. Malia.
Yes. Mambo ya voting, let me tell you. We have been voting, we have been voting, especially like us in ODM or former ODM, because now we are now orphans. We don't have anybody. The person we thought was with us has now decided to go to bed with Ruto. So here we are. We don't have anybody. So I don't know now how we'll be voting, because although during people used to vote at a time ya Moi na wanajua tu ni Moi atashinda, and they still go and vote for Matiba, they still go and vote for Ngilu, but wanajua Moi tu ndio atashinda. So sometimes it's just a civic responsibility. You can just go, because like in Kenya it's always a 2-horse race. So ukienda kuvotia ule jamaa wa Roots Party, sasa hiyo ni kama umepoteza tu kura. That one, it's better if you didn't even vote, if you are going to vote for somebody who is not one of the two major. So like if now we are having Morara versus Ruto, ama Ruto versus somebody else who is a bit not so bad, tunaweza rusha nini hapo. Lakini for Nairobi, for me personally, the person I'm going to vote for is Babu Otieno, ama it's called Babu Owino. Babu Owino for governor. Otherwise hawa wengine, hata MP wangu sahii ni ule brother ya Waitangula, anaitwa nani, Wafula ama ule mwenye anakuanga kwa wheelchair. Although I don't know that he'll be running for governor, but pia nitamvotia kama yeye ndio, if he's going to be running still for MP. But if he runs against Babu, I'll give Babu, because Babu has shown better performance. So even if I'm not going to, I'll just vote for presidential, because mi sioni hata nani atakuwa, si nani ashafikisha age, baba. Na in any case hata akisimama the way he has betrayed us, I don't think that kuna mtu mwenye hata sahi tunaomba asipate AU seat because of what he has done to us. How many people died when they're going to fight for him, and then now he's coming back to go in bed with this guy? We are so annoyed. So as voters, we are frustrated. Me, I can understand what they don't vote. Like for me in my family, my brother and my sister, they don't vote. So it's a waste of time, because the nini is the same story, tu ni the same story. So na tena hata kama watu wa ODM tulikuwa tunaenda kupiga kura, but we just know it will be stolen eventually, So it becomes discouraging. And then after all the problems we have gone through trying to vote for this guy, at the end of the day amekuja katu betray tu. Paka anaosha Adani sasa, ati Adani is a good because alimfund in 2012. And that's why you see now mambo ya funding, this funding thing, because at my governance, you a contractor is funding you, and then after you get into the office, he's coming to start now demanding that you give him a contract. So we need to see about this funding issue, because Raila is being forced now to wash Adani, because Adani alimpea pesa ya kucampaign 2012. So anyway, I don't know, but kama Morara atasimama, I'll vote for him for that president. If it's Ruto versus another person, I'll vote the other person, the second person. Governor hiyo ni sawa. Senator, what do these senators even do? I don't even understand what is their work. They
will be impeaching your deputy president tomorrow, na tuambie hivyo, shika hii kiboko. Go read your constitution, bwana. What do these senators even do? Shika tena. Continue.
That is the seat which should be scrapped. Wanatusumbua, hakuna kazi wanafanya. Sasa kushinda wakimpeach watu ndio kazi. They are not coming up with good laws. Umeona zile laws zenye zimeletwa? I was going through those laws in the afternoon. Mpaka I was like, mpaka nimeona ya horticulture imeletwa na Sabina Chege. In fact, Sabina Chege ameleta hiyo na ingine ya breastfeeding. Can't we get some, I don't know. Anyway, wakuwe hapo wakule pesa ya kuimpeach watu. Ukitaka kuimpeach mtu unawalipa kila mtu milioni 2 like that, na tusonge. That is, so I'm choosing the person who will go to eat, basically. Who will go and eat money for impeachment and other things, voting for other motions. But it's very discouraging. Me siwezi hata blame mtu. Me, my family, by the way, it's me and my mother and my dad and my older brother who vote. The other half of the family waliachana na hizo stories za kuvote. Wakaona ni mchezo sasa. There's nothing they are gaining from it. Unavotia mtu, unasimama hapo the whole day kuvotia mtu. Sasa kama Pasaris, what has Pasaris done in this Nairobi? Afadhali hata ile siku alikuanga kwa Adopt a Light, she was doing something tangible yenye unaweza ona useme this is something Pasaris did ya kulight the town. Now what has she done? Which accomplished? There's nothing. Na hakuna assessment ya kusema what have you done during this time. No, unakuja tena kutuitisha kura and you are not showing us what have you achieved other than stealing the money. Na kuenda kukaa kwa nyumba ya, she was living in an Indian's house, an Indian widow's house, halipi rent because she's a big person now, she cannot pay rent in somebody's house. You know, the kind of characters who we are having in this. Alafu one sasa, the person who is opposing her this time ni Karen Nyamu. Sasa you have an option between Pasaris na Karen Nyamu. That's why you are seeing people staying in the house. Juu wanashinda sasa ni watu wena gani tunaenda kupigia kura. Surely. Una waste siku yako hapo, usimame the whole day for what? And then you come to see garbage. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Malia, for that submission. I see. Lakini nilikwambia kwamba senators, ukisema senators wako useless na wao ndo wanaenda kutoa Rigathi. Remember tomorrow wale wenye wanapenda kutusikiza tukiwa kazi we'll be here streaming that Senate proceedings as well. Ndo wale wenye wanatusikizanga through earphones wasikuwe wanasumbuka nayo. So yeah, I have already mentally prepared myself for that. Yeah. Make sure you show up tomorrow from around 10 a.m. Let me just check the schedule of the Senate proceedings. That will help you, maybe you and the people who don't understand the role of the Senate in the country, to know what they will be doing. Of course, it will start at 10 a.m. 10:30 a.m. There will be preliminaries, and the reading of the charges will take from 10:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. So tomorrow 10:30 a.m. make sure you tune into HRWP. Will be fully here the whole day, just making sure that you get to follow that impeachment trial proceedings live. Tabidi tutumie PBU. Yeah, you need a parliamentary broadcasting unit, that one. Release the clips from there. So anyway, we'll be listening to that, the impeachment of Rigathi. Of course, we always have an evening chat after that. So tomorrow is those days that I pull 14-hour shifts. Yeah, just because of home run with PP, so that we can also get to understand what is going on in our country in the raw and most easiest way possible. Redemptor, you back to the mic?
Yeah, sorry, Malia has brought me back to the mic. I think I need to keep emphasizing that there's some people are calling it a disruption world over of status quo. That's why PDD got away with so many things. That's why in America there's a way everyone is being exposed, and it will be unfortunate to go back to the old way. So Malia, it sounds like you've already decided who you want to vote for, yet it is so early. And that's just my observation. The other thing I always say, it's good to understand what has failed us in the Constitution. When they talk about wage bill, for example, we have 47 senators, yet the nominated senators are 20. Why do we have nominated senators? It is because we did not adhere to the Constitution of that gender rule. And if the formations that are being formed, that's why I was a bit upset with the Inject Party and said it was too early to start campaigns, and the people who follow them were getting upset. I think we need to do, I keep saying, we have no business telling the young people that about the history, but in terms of manipulation and the games that people play, Malia has said it rightfully so, that ODM or Raila received money for campaign. So just today, the information I'm going to educate people today is that the people we love so much and we look up to, someone who knows the ingoings of campaigns, they both get money. Let's say for a company like Adani, and they are not sure who is going to win. So they make visits to the person who is going to be on the ballot, and they give pesa ya campaign. That money is usually a bribe. So I feel like all this has been disrupted because of, I know you can argue with me, it's a spiritual moment where so much evil happens in a society until like a young boy saying airport imeuzwa, and people laugh at that clip and they think it's just the boy was told by somebody. But there comes a time when we have to open our eyes. So Malia would advise, my advice for you and for every other voter is that something has changed, and how we are going to choose how we vote is going to really be from authentic leaders, and how they behave in the next few months. Then you can make up your mind, so that we don't just vote for people because we are fond of them or because they are good public speakers. We see how they behave, then we know they are capable of betraying us. That's just my rejoinder, and that's my submissions for today. Yeah, something.
Social conversations, engaging topics on your phone anywhere. This is Home Run with PP.
Malia.
Manze, unajua mambo ya baba, unajua it's very bad. Yani umependa mtu na si ati psychophants. People think that people who are in baba's side, na unajua kuna watu wengi sana apart from Luos who are very, yani wanapenda baba ile kabisa. Starting with me, I've never supported anybody else for election. I've only been supporting baba because me najua this is the guy who used to fight Moi at a time when fighting Moi was a matter of life and death. Sacrifice even his family. He was in jail, he was tortured, So the love which we have for baba cannot allow us to see him now at he's with Ruto. It's very painful. That's why I'm telling you now, we are so disoriented as ODM people or former ODM. Jumi hata nilienda kwa hiyo kuna venye unaweza toka kwa chama, nilitoka kwa SMS, kwa hiyo nini USSD na nikatoka kabisa. That day venye tulisikia hivyo, I'm telling you, I'm in many ODM groups, lakini that thing disoriented people in a very bad way. Tukasema hata afadhali handshake and the others, lakini this one now, the betrayal is too much. We don't even want, hata akiendorse mtu, I don't think tunaweza mpigia. Say we are free to follow somebody else because we are fed up.
Malia, before I drop, I need to just say this. 20 years is a very long time to support somebody, and a lot of us did support Raila because we said it was the lesser evil. And I remember the former Chief Justice, when he was launching his book, said we need to get off this argument of lesser evil. Evil is evil. So to be honest, I feel like there's a big group of people who need healing, like you need to heal, because it's like living with your father and your mother, then you discover your father had a secret family. It's the kind of thing that you did not know who this person is over the time they changed. And if we heal very quickly, then we'll be able to make sound decisions. You're not the only one. I've seen it. It's put people in a very, very bad place. So maybe one of the things you can do as a way of, because we are saying everybody in their little corner can do something, is to figure out how to reach out to other people who are feeling the disillusionment. 20 years, it almost feels like a relationship. You go vote, you wait for the results, unaacha amelead, unaona akisema ameibiwa, unaona akifanya handshake. It's an abusive relationship. And deep down, we cannot read his mind. We cannot. And then the last thing I've told people, and especially people who say we call each other comrades if you fight for justice, is that it's possible for someone to change, and we need to unshackle ourselves from gratitude. We are so grateful because they went to jail. We are so grateful because they did. We need to unshackle ourselves and say, you know what? They made that decision to do those things. So it can't be tunampigia kura tumwambie asante. Ashajiambia asante because when you do some of these things, you feel rewarded by just doing them. Asanteni. Sorry, I've overtalked. Asante.
Asante kwa hilo Redemptor, and I see Boni is back. I don't know if you still had a question for him, but Boni, there was a question from Wanjira. She was asking, do you know the places? Let me just say what she said. What are the neediest areas in Kiambu County, Boni?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, so when I look at a place like Kiambu, I look at all areas generally the same, right? There's no corner of the county that does not need something. Some are more developed than others in terms of infrastructure, in terms of roads, for example. But in general, every ward needs a good school. It needs a functioning school. It needs a school where your kids have desks. It needs a it needs a school where your kids have a place to play, right? Every school in our country needs that. It needs, you know, teachers that are well compensated, right? It needs schools that are that have what it needs to be able to teach these kids. One of the things that we've done as a country, this is not specifically Ambu, but you know, across the board, is that we've neglected our public schools. And so what happens when you neglect public schools is that, you know, as a citizen of any county in our republic, if you're paying taxes and then you don't get the benefit of sending your child to a public school, what you're actually doing is you're paying taxes twice, right? So, you know, as someone who's lived, for example, here in Texas, my son goes to a public school. I can send him to a private school if I want to, but I don't have to do that because he's getting the best of education and opportunities going to a public school. So every one of our counties needs schools, right? They need schools. And one of the things that I will invest heavily is in making sure that we don't just leave public schools for the poorest people among us. We want to make sure that every child gets an opportunity to do well in life. I'm the product of public schools. I went to a primary public school, went to a public high school. In fact, my first um, education that I had without, you know, that was not from a private school was when I went to Cornell, right? So, you know, we should be doing the best that we can to make sure that uh, everybody in the counties is able to get the kind of the kind of education we need to be able to do well. So, you know, investing in public schools to me is very important. Every county, every ward needs a good functioning hospital. Every one of them. There's no place you can go in Kiambu and you feel satisfied in terms of
Mhm.
the services that you get. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I wanted to jump in maybe and ask you something. You said earlier on, because I was listening, you said that
Yeah, go ahead.
you left Kenya when you're 18 years old, right? And
Yes, yeah.
that was how many years ago?
Many years
So
ago.
you see,
But
you
yeah,
over
so I'm
20
still,
years, right? So how
yes.
do you maintain the connection? Because we have seen also somebody from West Pokot also tried to be governor by just coming
Yeah,
from abroad and a a gubernatorial seat here. Also, someone else
yeah.
did that. I think for Kericho governor, deputy governor for West Pokot, also it came from that. There is also that connection from the diaspora to Kenya. But how do you now talk to the citizen of Kiambu to make them understand
Yeah.
that, okay, hi, I'm Boni, left Kenya when I was 18. I still understand what you're going through, except for the visit, of course.
All you have to do is look at, if you go to my timeline on X, you get a sense of who I am. I am, although I left Kenya when I was a teenager, I've maintained my connections with Kenya. I invest in Kenya. Right now, I'm building something, right? I'm trying to do a project in Kiambu. I do that because I believe in the county. I believe in our country, right? I come to Kenya several times a year. Maintain, you know, I still have a family in Kenya. You know, I'm talking to people on a daily basis. So I spend a lot of time here, right? So I have not lost any sort of connection in my country. I've not lost, you know, there was a person who had asked me a while back, you know, why do you think, like, you know, you have no real understanding of what's going on in Kenya? Um, because you are in America, right? It's a fair question, but in my view, if you see someone like me who really, I mean, if I wanted to get off, you know, issues relating to Kenya, I can do that. I can shut my computer, get off X, and continue doing my job here, and my family is fine. Doesn't have to deal with the issues that you guys are dealing with. I can do that, but yet I don't do it. I don't do it because it's not, for me, it's not just okay that I'm doing well. It's not okay that my family is doing well. It's not okay that just my son is able to go to the kind of school that he wants. I want my legacy to be a legacy of impacting other people. I really believe that although I've spent the vast majority of my time here in the US, I've spent a lot of time building my own career, you know, trying to do the best that I can for myself and my family. That's not what I want my legacy to be. I want my legacy to be, you know, this individual served his country, and the best place for me to serve is Kenyans. You know, there's a lot of people with good skills and good things in America. I want to use what I've learned. I want to use my experiences to serve Kenyans. Just feel like we have a shortage of good, honest leaders. That's the biggest difference, guys. If you can make sure that you vote for the right people into these offices, you solve 90% of the problems. We spend a lot of time here talking about wastage by our politicians, stealing by our politicians. If we just vote for the right guy or the right lady, 90% of the problems you're gonna solve, right? We can deal with the 10%. But we do ourselves a great disservice when we vote for criminals, right? And the reality is that our countries, we keep doing the same thing. If you look at Kiambu, right, we have, we elect Kabogo, right? Non-known, like, he was a politician before. We elect Kabogo, we throw him out. He has some shady deals. We bring in people like Babayao. Like, just think about how, when you elect someone like Babayao, right? What do you expect? What do you expect to get from that person? So we have to really think through the people that we're electing, because again, 90% of the problems can be fixed by making sure that we have the right people in these offices. Priorities mean a lot. Are you electing someone who can make the right calls when it comes to budget, where to put money, right? When you elect people that do not go there and they're thinking about themselves every day, they need to think about you.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Bonnie, that engagement. It gets us to 7:15 p.m. East African time. We still have one and about 3/4 of an hour to go this beautiful Tuesday. Namwona Big Boss kwa hapa hivi na sisi. Imekuwa muda ndugu yangu, habari yako? Big Boss, mambo? Ama nisikia hata
Nilikuwa sikusikii pipi katika hiyo sekunde 1, 2, 3 sikusikia brother.
Lakini uko vipi? Uko vipi lakini?
Hope umenipa nafasi.
Ndio, nimekupa nafasi.
Shukran sana. Na kwa hii nafasi tumia hii fursa kusema umrejeshea Mwenyezi Mungu asante. Manake familia niliacha humu, nimerudi nimeikuta kipindi cha wiki 2. Majuma ambayo yamekuwa mazito sana upande wangu. Manake moja kati ya mtu kwa maisha yangu naweza sema ndo nguzo, ndo mimi kusimama. Mwenyezi Mungu kuamua kumpumzisha. Mambo ni mengi kaka. Na baadhi wale wazee wangu ambao nilikwambia katika kikao cha mdahalo kama huwa niko nao bampa tu bampa, na hata leo wamenifuata wakaniambia bosi, tuna miss pipi show bana, mtu connectie kama kawaida, turudi kwenye hewa, manake ya kupita shapita, maisha yataendelea. Nimefurahi kukuta familia iko pale pale, na utaniruhusu kupita hii, nayo utaniruhusu nimsalimie mmoja ya dada yangu mpendwa Renishi. Nimekusalimia dadangu. Na vipi pia nimefurahi kukuta unasukuma gurudumu kama kawa, hatuchoki. Turudi kwenye hali ya kawaida, mambo yanapita mengi, lakini hivi kuna kitu ambacho tunafaa tujifunze. Vipi uende kwa msiba ambao marehemu kafariki kwa hali ya kuwa amejitia kitanzi, na amejitia kitanzi kwa hali ya kuwa amejinyonga na kamba, alafu kwenye huo msiba ufike stori zenye hadithi zenye unaanzisha ni za kuhusu kamba, unaongelea kuhusu kamba. Ndugu yangu, kila mtu atajua tu umeenda kuchekelea msiba wa wenyewe. Yaani hapo kama uende msibani kwa watu useme msiba hoe, sidhani kama utaimaliza salama. Hiyo ndo hali halisi tunayopitia kwa kipindi hichi tuko nacho. Unajua imefika mahali sisi kama Kenya ama sisi kama hii nchi tunaweza kuwa tuko kwenye hii space vile tuko hapa, ila hakuna anayejua kipi ndo kipi ama ashike wapi. Kwanza kitu kinachonisikitisha ni migogoro tu tumeanzisha kila aina. Yaani kila mtu ametokea tu na mgogoro wake. Yani kila mtu amekuja tu na mwendo wake tu, yani wa kuotoa watu kwenye reli, ili mradi tu kuna mambo yapite. Ni masikitiko. Alafu sijui kwa nini baadhi ya sisi watu wengi, ama sisi watu ambao tunajikuta tuna akili razimu ambao tumepewa na Mwenyezi Mungu, kuna vitu hatuoni haviendi sawa, ila hatuongei, na nafasi tunayo. Nakushukuru wewe, unawapa watu nafasi hapo kuongea. Ni ajabu pia watu wanaogopa kuongea bwana. Watu wanaogopa kuja kusema kinachojiri. Nimefika mahali nimesikia wengi wamemkashifu mzee Raila, wengi wamemkashifu, kila mtu amekuja na kashfa zake, kila mtu. Ipo sawa, kumkosoa kiongozi ni sawa, kukosoa miendelezo ambao nchi haiendi sawa. Naam brother, vipi, nitarudi, ngoja nishuhudie mtu. Naambie brother, ushafunga? Sasa najua nimefanya kazi masaa.
Big Boss, Big Boss atarudi hapa hivi kutuongelesha in a few. Wanjira, I see you coming back. I don't know if you had something to add, like a rebuttal or something. Wanjira, are you there?
I'm here, Pipi. No, I don't have any contributors. We continue. Yeah.
Sawa. Let me see what is happening also in the comment section. I also want to say that the impeachment proceedings for the trial, Justice Chacha Mwita has said to end the Senate. So kesho tutakuwa Senate, ladies and gentlemen. That is news that has broken earlier here. And of course, I want to hear from people who want to be leaders as well. Najua watu wenye wako hapa hivi pia, kuna wenye najua mko na pia roho ya kukuwa wanasiasa. Yeah. So I'd like to hear what you have in store for your people as well. Na pia niko sure kuna watu wanasikiza hapa hivi, and I'm happy guys like Boni have taken up the mantle and just stepped up for us to just ask them questions. You know, it takes so much energies to come out in front of people to just answer questions, especially when it comes to accountability. I think Anna Redemptor pointed out that accountability has been quite an issue when it comes to the leadership of the revolution. So yeah, it is something that I really advocate for a lot, because it is something that all of us want for our country. We want a country that you can be accountable for every shilling. Kiongozi akisema anafanya hivyo. Sio kiongozi anaenda kuandika brother yake kazi, sister yake kazi. I see Daniel is trying to connect the mic na anashindwa, acha nimpatie automatic akuje. And also onto the concept. Yeah. Wewe una work hard, watu wanapewa kazi juu ya jina yao. What country is that? Yenye wewe una work hard, watu wengine wanapewa kazi juu ni wife ya governor. What is that? Sijui sister ya governor, mtoto wa president anatusumbua. You get it? Wanjira.
Yeah, sorry, Bibi. I was going to ask. First of all, Bonnie, thank you so much for allowing yourself to, just come here and let us ask you questions. Now, in Kiambu County, our woman rep, the lady, what is her name? Anne Wamuratha, yes. People like that, together with Kina Kimani Ichung'wah and others, and what is our senator, Karongo Wathang'wa, the one that is behind the bill to give us additional public holidays. I think that we have contributed a good number of clowns to this nation from Kiambu County. I'm not proud of it, but a good number of clowns. How do you hope, Boniface, to work with people like that? How do you, how do you hope to sit, for example, in the same, rooms as these people and discuss the progress of the people of Kiambu, whereas you seem to be going on a completely different path with, for example, Kimani Ichung'wah, who I am certain I think will be still involved in national politics at some level, perhaps not MP, because I do not think myself or anyone from Kikuyu right now will give Kimani Ichung'wah a vote. But how do you hope to work with clowns such as those, and still demonstrate to the people of Kiambu that you actually are serious, you have a vision, and overall you have the last word essentially as a governor, because the buck will stop with you?
Boni, umesikia hiyo swali? Can you hear Boni Wanjira?
Thank you so much for the game, Wanjira.
Oh, you're back. Continue,
I
Boni.
hope you can hear me.
Yes, you can.
Can you hear me? I mean, look, I talked about, yeah, thank you. I talked about the fact that, I come from the private sector where you meet people from all sorts of backgrounds, different knowledge, right? You're supposed to help set vision. You're supposed to help set the tone, right? Which is what I've done in my career. I will be doing nothing different in government, because I 100% believe that what's happening in this country is going to change our country in the next 3 years. I don't think that the vast majority of the people that you see right now in parliament, the people that are frustrating us, right? The people that are contributing to this mess, I don't think a lot of them are going to come back. I honestly believe that if Kenyans continue having these discussions where we are thinking about, like the discussion that we're having right now about leadership and the people that we want, I don't think that we spent a lot of time as Kenyans doing this in the past. We've sort of elected people because they have a big name, they come around and they throw around money. I think that that's going to change. So I honestly believe that we're going to see a big change in terms of the caliber of people that are going to be in these places. I'm not saying that 100% of the people that are there now are not going to come back, but I do believe that we're going to have a very different caliber of people in government, in parliament, and places like that. But again, it's not different from working in the private sector, where if you are a leader somewhere, like right now I work for one of the biggest consulting firms. I have a lot of people that I work with, different personalities, right? It's just about understanding what those people bring to the table, who's capable, who's not capable. And again, my job is to set the tone and to set the agenda, right? And as long as the vast majority of people that are here understand where we need to go as a county, I think it's easier. It's easier when you have the leader who's setting the right tone, and then have, if you have an engaged electorate that understands what we are trying to do, don't worry, don't spend a lot of time thinking about this MCAs that don't have the best interest of the people. That's not, we can't spend the whole day thinking about it. Just think about selecting the right leaders. You select the right leaders, particularly if most of us do that, the natural consequence of that is going to be you find that the people that are getting elected to parliament, to your local assembly, are going to, by and large, care about the people. And that's what you need. You don't need 100% agreement on everything. But if you have 60-70% of people that are thinking about the people first before they think about themselves, you'll be able to get business done.
Anthony Concepts, habari yako?
Poa sana pipi.
Zama siku. Zama siku kwaje?
Si mbaya, tunang'ang'ana kuvumilia kuwa Mkenya. I had one thing to say about Boni. I don't know if it's an advice or I'm just pointing out. You're coming in as a movement. You're coming in as a radical change leader. And we know how our politics plays out. You need, especially for a governor, you need MCAs more than anything. You need MCAs to be in sync with your idea, with what you want to change, especially at the county level, because you have seen how it has been happening in Meru, whereby the governor has been in war with the MCAs on impeachment, right? Even you won't even have time to work. So because you're coming in as a movement, you need to have your own cushion or your own blanket. Right now, if you're coming in as a governor, you need to have your MCA's team. So you need to have guys who will be campaigning with in that party or whichever party it is, who are with the same idea that you are, so that when you come in as a blanket. You have the MCAs who you have started campaigning together, meaning you have the same ideology. So when you are a governor, you run at a faster space. Not coming in, you are the governor, but down the guys who are following you, they're just scattered. Ni kama ni madoa. Huyu ni yellow, huyu ni green, huyu ni nini. Then you expect to work in harmony. Chances are it will always be a fight. So not so many people I don't know people are agreeing with Moraro or what, but I like the idea why he's saying you can go in as a party which is inject where if I'm going in for the presidency, I'll need the members of parliament to be with me in the same hand. So that is kuje kama hii siasa ya Ruto yenye you now have to buy people so that they can come to your ideology. So utajipata unatumia pesa. Na kutumia pesa itabidi umeiba kutoka hiyo kaunti yenye, because I don't know if we are rich that enough to buy all those MCAs. So unaona, because you're coming in as a radical person, you also need to have your own team, and your own team you need to have a party which you're coming in, so that those MCAs, those MPs who are coming from your county, they're all subscribing to that ideology.
All right, asante sana kwa hilo Anthony. Naona pale hivi Daniel ametujoin. How are you doing, Daniel?
Yes, vipi? So
niko poa sana. Wewe?
Good. Niko fiti. Yeah, I had to join in that conversation about voting. Yeah, I think sahi mtu anasema aendi kuvote. Hiyo tunafaa tumshike tumrushe kwa ice bucket. Alafu tumpatie vyombo aoshe. Because sahi with all the shit that we're seeing, afu useme utavote, tutakuamsha na maji asubuhi. Because right now we cannot afford, like maybe previous times someone can say, okay, I have about apathy. But sahi, apathy about what? Like you're literally about to end up in a shithole of a country if some guys keep ruling. And the way they are like consolidating everything, because the guy is consolidating power, because I think in his mind, he thinks he believes that his power will come from the politicians, not from us. So he's consolidating his numbers around them. He's gonna pay them. He's gonna do everything. He can tell them sasa kababa every morning to the politicians, because he thinks that's where his power is. But we need to show him something different. We need to show him that his power does not lie with that political group of like 400 people, because they're not even many. It's like 400 people. Like because that's where he thinks his power is. Right now, I think even deep down, everybody can see that there's a huge change that's happening. Before, yes, it was true. Power largely lies in Kenya with the politicians, but everyone can see right now, because even the politicians are confused. If you saw how Keheka was completely confused, like the guys when that meeting they were with Sudi, like everyone was confused, where everybody was so pissed off. I think even the politicians, I see Boni here. So obviously, if he doubles in politics, he has some connections. He can talk to some of them. Those guys are completely confused. Like they cannot be able to wrap their heads around the fact that they are actually not as powerful as they thought. In fact, the people they thought were stupid and they would push them around with petty unawatumia unga. Imagine guys used to be given unga ugali, and then you go vote for the guy. And they're realizing that there's a huge, and somebody says it's the entire continent. It's true. It's not, it's literally the entire continent. Everywhere you go, because there's a huge generational change that's happening, and it's messing things that were there. It's messing things up, number one, and it's scaring the hell out of the older generations. So right now we need to understand you are born in the age where you need to change things. So kusema auta vote, hiyo ni kutukosea vibaya sana. Because we have to go, like there's this barrier that was put there. First, it was the barrier of colonialism. People fought and died. to remove it. Then there was the barrier of dictatorship and stuff like that. People fought and died to remove it. Now we have a guy that wants to return to things that people have already fought for. I think we should not allow such things. We have so much we need to achieve, so many places we need to go as a country, as a people, as a society, as a continent. For us to let an idiot start taking us back to where our parents already fought this war. Like, we do not need to start fighting things that are already fought. If Ruto is stuck in the dark ages of Moi, he needs to be arushwe huko aende akaretire, and he can go and stay in his dreams thinking about those days. But we do not need that shit right now, and that is why we need all hands on deck. And mtu asijaribu kusema hizi vote, because we need them. Like, if there was ever a time where a vote was needed, it's now, because this guy is going to steal like crazy. So we need to overwhelm the guy with votes, like overwhelm the guy. Like, if the guy is going to steal for 2 million votes, he's finding 7 million there. Like, we need to make it like the guy is already confused at what is happening. Let's confuse him even more. Like, the day it comes, those 8 million votes need to be there, plus all the new ones. Akitaka kuiba 10 million, wacha ibe 10 million votes to one. But we need everybody this time. If there was ever an election where we need everyone, it's this one. I'm done.
Thank you for that submission, Bwana Daniel. I see Wanjiru has joined us to talk to us. How are you doing, Wanjiru?
Hello, everybody, and thank you for organizing this forum and giving me the opportunity to chime in and just put in my thoughts. I think I'm becoming a conspiracy theorist now, because of so many things are happening, and they're not coincidental. You just hear the many people, the many bodies that were found in Kware. No one knows who these people are, because not many relatives have come forward to say we're missing our kin, And then there are all these bodies that are filling in the city mortuary, and again, they are not claimed. Some of them are not claimed, and not many citizens saying that they've lost their kin, although we know there are those who lost their kin during the demonstrations. But there are bodies, popping up in places, and we don't know who these people are. And then now we hear that booklets for birth certificates are disappearing. And then we know that for our young people, finding, or getting an ID has become such an uphill task. So my question is, why is the government not issuing ID to its own youth? And why do we have so many, foreign people in Nairobi? I hear, there are many people from the Burundians, the DRC, and all these people are in Nairobi. They come in just to, try and make a living. But my question is, are these people going to be issued with IDs and then registered as voters, and then be used to, sanitize Ruto during the next general election? And then who are these people who are dying in Nairobi? Who are these people, and where are they coming from? So that is my question. I've just been wondering what is going on, because there is something going on, but I don't know, and I can't put my finger on. But I can see there's so many coincidences that popping up, and it's for me, it's not adding up. Why we have so many bodies, even during the post-election violence, we didn't have the city mortuary filling up, but now we hear, they have nowhere to put more bodies, and bodies are being collected everywhere. Police are just saying, we have bodies, we need to put them in the mortuary, but there is no space. And then, we see bodies being thrown in Kware. We see mass graves in Kitengela. So what the hell is going on in the country? I just cannot understand what's going on. But I think maybe we heard of Shakahora that went on for too long. Maybe there's a Shakahola kind of an event going on within Nairobi City. That's all I wanted to just bring in. It's my thoughts. I don't know. Maybe I'm just overthinking, but I'm just concerned. Thank you.
Thank you, Wanjiru, for that concern. Of course, it's something that is also getting to us. We have also discussed that one here on the show as well. How can that morgue be full, and where are the bodies coming from, and why are they not being claimed? So many questions, very few answers. Of course, it has been the order of the day. I don't know if Bonnie had something to say to us as well. And of course, if you are joining in right now, I'm asking a very simple question. Bona mimi kwa uongozi, why would you want to be elected as a leader? Join in and talk to us. Bonnie.
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. So I wanted to add something because one of the things that I keep hearing is people asking, how are you going to work with these MCAs, and what do you do with the fact that we are used to seeing MCAs that are corrupt, that are going to try and move you to other directions, and how are you gonna, what do you plan to do, and how are you gonna get over the fact that some of these people may be sort of there to frustrate you? I think it's important for all of us to understand that these people are only as powerful as you allow them to be, right? No MCA goes there with his own power. Power comes from you guys. And so if you, the citizens, are on the same page in terms of our priorities, these people don't have any power but you, right? So politicians want to win elections. Unless you're dumb, you can't go there and do things that 90% of your people want, right? You're not going, that's not going to work. I want to give you an example of the United States where you look at someone like Donald Trump. I don't know if you guys ever thought about how Donald Trump is able to become so powerful and so relevant. When Donald Trump started running for office, the vast majority of politicians in his party did not want him to even be the nominee. They've never wanted him to be the nominee. But he's able to go to the ground and talk to citizens like you and I. And as long as he's able to sell them on his vision, the rest of the people fall in line. If you want to run for office, on the Republican Party, you have to, you can't ignore what he's saying. I don't even like Donald Trump as a person, but I respect. I can see how he's been able to get, to change things, at least in his own party. And you might disagree with. I disagree a lot with his policies, but in terms of his ability to talk to the people and get the average citizen to understand what his vision is. These leaders, if someone is a congressperson or senator, they fall in line because they know that he's managed to talk to every citizen and sell his vision to them. So for me, my job is to talk to you guys and make sure that you guys understand where I'm trying to take us. And as long as you sign off on my vision and my ambition for the county, the MCAs are gonna fall in line, right? They are not done. They can read what the room is saying, right? So that's, don't give him too much power. They don't have any power that you don't give. So you are the most important consideration when it comes to politics, in my view.
Ndio wewe nafaa nirudishe Opondo hapa wewe Boni. I think Opondo can talk to you well. Because hizi vitu unasema ni very ziko very practical, but from what Opondo said, hadi alipigwa panga ya mgongo. Sijui, are you ready for the like, we have to be honest. Siasa ya Kenya haitaki kuongea tu, inataka action. Are you ready for the action?
Guys, what I'm asking you is this: what are our options? What options do we have? Are we gonna sit here and say, oh, if I get there, people are gonna say this, or if I get there, I'll be attacked? Like, what are our options? We can't all be helpless. We can't sit here and look at what's happening. The people that are doing this to you and I, it's a very small fraction of the population. I'm talking about 2 or 3%. Those are the people that are doing this to you. The people that are stealing your opportunities and your kids' opportunities are a very small fraction of the population. We cannot give them that much power. We cannot. As long as you guys understand how to evaluate a leader, the kind of things you need to look for. We're gonna win. These people do not have extra votes. Okay. If 90% of the people that are on this call, if I'm able to talk to you and tell you this is where I want to take our county, and I talk to you and we have a discussion around where our priorities need to be, and you guys vote, we're gonna win. We're gonna win. This is not impossible. It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science.
All right, let us hear from Isaac, who's joined us. We are quarter to the top of the hour. Isaac, hi.
Hey, Pipita. Thank you so much for the mic, and I've been following the discussion as a silent listener, and I like what's going on. And one thing I would just like to say is, when you look at the politics of Kenya, I think it is something that is historical, and as they say, history repeats itself. So we're kind of going through the same rotation, things that happened in the era of Kenyatta, all through the Odinga, the father, and the Moi era, the Kibaki era, and now the Uhuru and the the Ruto. So we are like, it's a cycle, and here's my proposal. And when we ask ourselves what's the way forward, I like the new generation, actually the Gen Z that is coming up, and even the Gen Alpha. And one of the things that I must appreciate is the fact that the civic education is kind of getting back into this younger population. They're now aware of what is actually happening. And when I was actually listening and going through all the spaces and what the conversation that is happening right now, I must appreciate the fact that people are being aware, and information is power. Because we look at our grandparents, we look at even our parents, our immediate parents, for them, they've just been following the wind. If so and so has said, then so be it. I can't really question what my leader has said. I can't really question what my pastor said in church today, So people get information. They've been so much gullible. And you realize that now the people in political spaces, they take advantage of the gullible Kenyans just to, feed them with information that they know they will hoodwink, change their interest, and actually take advantage of that to advance their own political mileage. So here's my proposal. And I was thinking, like, if we can have, civic education. When you talk about civic education, we're talking about good governance. When you talk about, ethics and anti-corruption education, if we can ingrain this in our syllabus, academic syllabus, and this is something that can even start at a very younger age, lower grade, and young people growing up, coming up even in junior secondary and all the way to high school. This is something that can be indoctrinated, and I'm using the word indoctrination on purpose here, because if we can bring up younger generation who are self-aware of their country, the needs of their country, right? What good governance involves, what corruption is, and how we can actually end this corruption. I think this will be a beginning of actually transforming our country. But if we just keep talking about this, we started talking about corruption, even the end of Moi, the politics of tyranny. When you talk about the politics of what is even happening with Gachagua right now. You see, these are things that did not just start yesterday. These are things that have been there. So I'm thinking, like, if we can actually advance this maybe in a different way, we just need a paradigm shift, a different way of thinking, because we can't be doing the same thing the same way. And you can see when Gen Z came up, they tried to take a different course. And to be honest, you can see the people in political power were rattled, right? And that's why you can see right now they're invading Gen Z, the tactic of divide and rule. This is what is happening. Now you can see even the people we trusted, they're now kind of going to sleep with the government and so forth. So I think this is the tactic of the government, because they know if they divide and rule, then they are going to infiltrate the power of Gen Z that they had right at the beginning. So if we can take this advocacy to the next level, ingrain this in our systems of education, I think the younger people we are producing, it might take some time. It might take 10, 20 years, but maybe in 40 years, we will have a new Kenya. Just like, Burkina Faso are really going through the fruits of what they've been laboring for quite a while. And I can see Kenya. There is still hope. That's one thing that I can say. There is still hope. Even what Gen Z did, you can see the fruits are coming up, whereby now you see the government is rattled. Everyone is rattled. We have broad-based government because of Gen Z, not because of Raila. Some people keep on saying Raila. This is the power of the Gen Z that have rattled the government until we are seeing the changes that are happening in this particular government. And this is what I say. I know there is a model that young people have been using. We are leaderless. I would like the young people to replace that leaderless. Let's have leaders. Let's have young people take positions of power. Let young people vie for MCS. Let young people vie for MP. Go for it. We need to see, even if we won't get the presidential candidate or the governors and so forth. Let's have young people in this position. I'll be very proud if I can see a parliament under 40 in 2027. And I feel that is possible, having a whole House of Commons with people under the age of 40. And I'm telling you, if we can have something that will have people of the same mind, and that's how we're going to change our nation. So that's just my little, contribution just related to this. And I'm sure we are going to win and we are going to overcome. It might not happen tomorrow. It might not happen next week, but it might take some time, and we are headed there. Thank you, Pepita.
Thank you, Isaac, for that very powerful submission as well. Very, very powerful indeed. I see Paul the First is here with us. Habari yako, Paulo?
Yes, I'm fine.
Talk to me.
How are
How have you been? Niko salama.
you? Pia mi niko fine. Nafuatilia tu endo majukumu imenileta mbio. Leo hii sionekanangi online ovyo, lakini najaribu. So, let me talk about the topic of the day. Mbona mimi kuwa kiongozi? Actually, we are the leaders of today. Ile time nilikuwa na grow, nilikuwa nasikia wanasema the youths are the leaders of tomorrow, but I think it has changed to be the leaders of today. So acha tuamuke. These leaders actually are used to support people, but leo inasema it's me. You support a person today, kesho anaenda bungeni, anaenda kukalia. So let's wake up, we as the Gen Z. Amuka like an individual. There's a boy here in our village who comes from Nyaribari, the neighboring constituency. Kijana is just a boda rider. It's around 23, 24 years. But niliona leo ameamuka, is fighting for akina Chanda, anataka kukua kiongozi. Actually, that's what we want. I want actually like me. So in the coming election, pia mi unaweza nipata kwa parrot. Leo hii una support mtu, the coming days anaingia huko anaanza kupitisha pills zinatuua. Look for an example, some people took advantage of our riots. Right now they are somewhere eating while hapa sisi tunateseka. So let's wake up, we as the youth, tuchukue hii serikali. Like my colleague here have said, even if we will not manage to take the presidential, the gubernatorial, in the MPs, tuchukue kiti ya MP, tuchukue kiti ya MCS, ladies take the women reps. Actually, like if I can say Pipita, nikifika huko bungeni, I can say that I know somebody by the name Pipita, lakini ukipata mzee wa miaka 80 huko hawezi jua kama kuna mtu kama huyo. Anaweza jua I can know all the problems zenye my age mates anapitia rather than that person who is above 40, who is above 70 mwenye ako huko anaenda kukufia huko akona nini greed in his heart. So we are the youth, let's wake up, let's fight for this nini. Hii kitu ya kusema you are going to support somebody, no, let somebody support you, not you supporting somebody. So that's what I have for now. Nitaendelea kuongea tena. Have a nice moment please.
Asante sana kwa hiyo submission bwana Paul, and it's quite something. Unasema kwamba unataka mtu asikusaidie wewe ndio ukuwe mtu akusaidiana. It's confusing, but sawa, tunakupata. Like, today I want to hear from people who wanted to be in leadership. I'm sad that I only heard from two, but yes, I hope more leaders will get to show up, people who have the ambition. Na pia kuna kitu moja nilikuwa nataka maybe kuiongelea. You know, the finances behind funding up an election in Kenya is not cheap. I wish a Redemptor would be here, or yeah, Mata Malia. Malia, maybe comment on the cost of campaigns and why people maybe shy away from politics because of the high amount of money that is needed to, let's say it as is, to bribe voters. Do you think that is why many people shy away from going for politics?
Thank you, Pipita. People shy away from going into politics because of the cost. Maybe I can use an example. There was an election where Boniface Mwangi was running for Starehe against Jaguar, and based on ethics, he decided that he'll not give any money, any handouts. So instead, he was campaigning with something that looks like a note, a currency note, but behind is written the promises. So he was giving out the promises of what he would do, but it ended up not working out for him because Kenyan electorate, particularly in urban areas, I think, I'm not very sure about rural areas, but what I know in cosmopolitan areas or places, Nairobi, Mombasa, like that, you need a lot of money. And Nairobi, even just campaigning for an MP seat, you need upwards of 50 million for you to run a campaign which is formidable. Without that kind of a campaign, you will not be able to get anywhere because unfortunately, the culture with our people in Kenya, they look at an MP as a kind of an ATM machine. So even before you go into politics, like when you are just campaigning, already you can be receiving up to 500 calls and messages a day requesting you to assist in one way or another, be it funeral, be it school fees, somebody who is in hospital, all kinds of things you are supposed to cater for. So I even had Millie Odhiambo saying that there was a time one of her constituents was asking her for money to buy a mosquito net. So the cost is very high, but of course we have seen people who didn't have much money, and although they are the exception to the rule, Akina Toto and Selassie, those Akina PK Selassie, those are exception to the rule. Much of the time you have to invest heavily, and I've seen people who have gone bankrupt because you sell your property or your shamba so that you can go and do the campaign, and the people eat your money because, you know, when you're campaigning, there are so many people you need to give money. You need to give money to the Mwananchi, you need to give money to brokers. There are so many brokers who broke as leaders, you know, like kind of informal leaders of the community. So they tell you, you need to give money to women groups, you need to give money to youth groups, you need to give money to churches, but and they do this to several people. They move from like one person to the other and telling them that, the community has seen that you can be a good leader, so we have decided that you become our leader. Then they move from you, they go to another person. So it's a money-making venture for a lot of people. including the Mwananchi, the basic one. Then you come to the youths who are going to be walking around with you because you need security. You know, campaigning has a lot of violence. It can get very violent. So you need security, you need young men to be able to protect you. You need a kind of a jeshi. So those young men, you need to be giving them money to be walking around with you so that they can intimidate your opponents, youth who are guarding him and those kinds of things. So it's very cash intensive. It's very money intensive. So if you are somebody who doesn't have money, you'll need practically a miracle. There are times when you might be really people may really believe in you and they believe in your vision, and they leave somebody who has given them a lot of money and they vote for you. We've seen those cases, but that is like 1 out of I don't know how many hundreds. So if you are planning to go into politics, you have to panga yourself in terms of money, and not kidogo money. I've told you, like in Nairobi here, constituency level 50 million and up. If you are really going to be if you're going to run a formidable campaign. Otherwise, you'll be number 5, huko number 10, you know. And nowadays, by the way, you know, candidates are also many. You can find a situation whereby one seat for the constituency has even 10 people who are running, who are vying for the seat. So that is very important. And then let's not forget that if you're going to vie with a party ticket, you need to be able to pay for your to be nominated, because it's not free of charge unless you're going to be an independent candidate. If you're going to run under any party, you need to pay. And first of all, you are paying for you to be nominated. But even those nominations, you have to go into there's an election for people to nominate you. Like now, ODM, which I was formerly in, when it comes time to nominate somebody, you're supposed to go for by-elections or to nominate the person who will stand in a particular constituency. And sometimes those nominations, they don't even go with the people who will vote, but it's bought directly. Like you can just say that you're going to finance maybe the presidential candidate from that particular party, then he nominates you direct. You know, it will just be told that it was free and fair, but it's actually a direct nomination. And if you're nominated directly, that means you have clinched. You know, there are areas whereby if you stand with a particular party, that's a direct ticket. You have now gotten it, because also Kenyans do they for them to not vote for you based on a popular ticket. Like for example, let's use the example for the Meru governor. The Meru governor, she was a women's rep. Then she went to run for governor. She tried to get a UDA party ticket. She couldn't get, because she was not popular. She was not, the parties don't know her. You know, she was popular on ground, but the party don't know her. So they gave the nomination to somebody, because if it was about elections, she could have won the ticket. But now they gave the ticket to somebody who they know, which is Mr. Linturi. And then the other person who was quite popular was Mr. Kiraito, who was running with Mbas. And Mbas is a kind of an indigenous, or rather local party. But UDA was very popular. But at the end of the day, she still carried the seat with independent. And there are people who've run with independent and they've managed, because at times the costs of, and even if you have the money, sometimes you have the money, but they still don't prefer you because they didn't know you from before. Like they feel they owe this other person the seat more than you. So it doesn't matter that you have the money or not. So I would also encourage the younger people who are coming in, try independent candidate. There's no need of, if you sell your policies very well, and you are very good on groundwork, because what I've seen with our politics, you need to be on the ground so much. And that's how even Ruto was able to carry the day, because he used to go even mashinani huko kwa centers, you know, huko ushago. So you need, and then also the other thing which you can do, which I saw like the governor of Meru using TV, you can use you know, it shows when you go to those interior places. So the people on the ground will see that you are, even if you don't come to their area, they see that you are someone who goes, you go interior places, you know, uko ndani mashinani. So they see you as someone who is in touch with them. So even if the other person has a lot of money, the person they may not feel like the person is in touch with them, because like the former governor of Meru, Mr. Kereto Murongi, was very, 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 very wealthy person. You can't compare with the current governor. But she used her TV station to be able to show people when she would go on the ground, very deep interior, to go and give out water tanks. She keeps on playing it on her TV, and that's the TV which the local people watch. So they came to see her as one of them. So you can use those kind of things. And then also religion plays a big part. You know, Kenyans are 82% Christian. If they see you to be a morally upright person and a godly person, a person who likes going to church, somebody you can bring out your family dynamics as Christian, it can really help you. So like Mr. Morara, of course, one of the things that has endeared him a lot to Kenyans is because he's a Christian. You even see sometimes he's praying in his furniture business. They kneel down, they pray. You know, he's a family man. He espouses family values. Those are things which Kenyans like. So, and if you can also get pastors to endorse you, it will be very good, because you see, if you go to a pastor, he has a congregation of 500, 1,000, 10,000. If he tells these people to vote for you, they'll vote for you. So that's one of the, in fact, the easiest way to get votes, because once the pastor just tells the congregation that this is the right person for us, those are votes you have in your basket without much wahala. So think about all those avenues in which you can be able to maximize, because for youths, you don't have the money, so you have to think outside the box to see what can. And of course, there's this online. You can be always on social media, be a social media influencer, be somebody who is visible, and that visibility will help you, because you will be able to get to quite a few people. So think about all those things beyond just the funding, because you can see Morara has not been giving people money, and he's becoming more and more popular. Yeah. So even though he failed to clinch MCA seat, maybe because of finances, or there was another MC who was giving out more money, I don't know. But there's many ways to kill the cat. Just look for what is suiting you and what is okay with your pocket. Don't go and take a loan. People have been doing those kinds of things where you go take loans, you go and sell your property, your shamba. Don't do those things. Think outside the box. Rally people using all those medias that I've talked about, and you can be able to clinch the seat against somebody who is a billionaire. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Malia, for that submission. It gets us at exactly 8 minutes past 8 East African time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Home Run with Pipi. My name is MC Pipita.
You are listening to Home Run with Pipi. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m.
You're listening to Home Run. Of course, we come to you each weekday when you're 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. Of course, we're in our final hour of the show today. Tomorrow, we're going to be having a special broadcast to be here following on the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua from around 10:30 or 11 p.m. tomorrow. But today, we are here looking at the future of leadership. That is the leaders of tomorrow, the leaders of now, the people who are looking out there to be leaders, and you're giving them a chance to speak out for themselves. And of course, I'd like to just point out that Home Run with Pipi is supported by you, the listener. Hii studio ambayo tuko nayo hapa ambayo tunawaletea hichi kipindi kutoka is supported by you. If you like what you're doing, there is a tip jar line. 0721948229 is the number. Kidogo hivi tuende 00, lakini Isaac ni nani? Thank you so much, Isaac, for your tip pale hivi kwenye tip jar line yako umetusupport. So asanteni. You can help us keep the lights on this side of the studio by going into that tip jar line 0721948229. There's no amount that is bigger or smaller, as we always say here. Tunasema kwamba your support is the reason why we give you a chance to to be as independent as possible, because nobody can come and claim, oh, we paid you, so why are you speaking like that? We're an independent media source right now. So thank you so much for your support wale ambao wanaingia pale hivi kwenye Tipcha line. So I saw Isaac alikuwa ameinua mkono juu while Malia was speaking. So Isaac, I don't know if you had something to talk about when it comes to that campaign money thing.
Yeah, I just wanted to contribute to what Malia was sharing, which I found very, very important. And one thing I just want to add on, and I 100% agree with what she said, politics are very expensive. So let's not run away from the truth. You when you run politics all over the world, you need money. We cannot run away from that, right? And very few people actually run campaigns without money. You definitely need money. And you've seen, like, even in the Western politics, people fund politicians, right? But I think the only problem we are having, and what I spoke earlier on, is just a mindset that we need to change. Because, when I was in high school, we used to say in Swahili, and I quote, we are the reflection of the society. We reflect the society. And even when we produce these politicians, they're coming amongst us, right? Every time during the political campaign, you realize that now people will be going to aspirants, asking for money, going there to take tea and so forth, right? So when these guys of ours get into parliament, they want now to return all the money they've been, giving out. So if we could reduce these handouts that we are actually giving, taking from politicians, because when we do that, we are actually activating this vice of, people stealing, and to replace all the money they've taken. Even if you've taken loans, you want to replace that. But for the young people, I'm asking, we've been sending out money. Hanifa, if you remember, she received over 30 million, and people were supporting campaign of Gen Z, just to take care of those who were injured and so forth. So you can see there is power in unity of purpose. Just like Malia did mention, if you show people what you have, people are ready to support you. And I want to see younger people standing up, going for this position, and actually crowdsourcing on social media, saying that, hey, I want to go to parliament, please, can you fund me? Rather than, trying to steal money, look for money, taking loans. You don't want to run into debt, right? So stand up and let people fund it. And if someone can give you 20 bob, 200, 1,000, this is good money to help you campaign. And if you can show it, you can show how responsible you are. I'm telling you, there is no need to fear. If you feel within yourself you can be a leader, man, go for it. Go for it. We just need to change this mindset whereby politicians have to give out handouts for them to receive this seat. Wacha tukule, like Eric Omondi normally says, wacha walete pesa, we eat, but we make our decision. That's where it comes in. The decision is yours to decide what kind of leader do you want to take that particular position. So I'll stop there so that I can allow other people to contribute. Thank you so much, Phoebe.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Isaac, as well, for that submission. Redemptor, I see you back on the microphone. Would you want to contribute on that?
Yes, before I contribute, I feel like I'm spilling my tomorrow's conversation. And just to let you know, I decide on the conversation by Sunday. I look for panelists. So I've researched a lot on the way forward for us. So I'll just share some of the thoughts I'm having. Now, there's usually a wave that comes in Kenya every so often that parties stop being important. And I feel like we are in a moment in history where parties are not going to be important. Just for your information, we have very few parties in Kenya that have a network around the country. We have ODM, which is, I think, one of the oldest parties and the most powerful party. And we know all the shenanigan that goes there in getting their tickets and how they get into alliances after election. Then we've had new parties like TNA, which you never know, is it TNA, is it Jubilee? Because then once it's Jubilee, it's a collision of other parties. Then we've had Kenya Kwanza and UDA, and a lot of us are confused, which is the party, which is the coalition. Then we have had the traditional Ford Asili Ford, I don't know if still Ford Asili is still there, Ford Kenya, and then we have the Wiper Party. Now, all these parties, the traditional parties, they have got their strongholds in tribal lineages. We have ODM all over the country, but the people that really matter are the ones who are the majority, like in Nyanza province. Independents have made it in moments of history, and I think we're in a moment of history. Where I personally feel that we've gone wrong is in now starting to think of crowdfunding for a presidential aspirant. And that is going to polarize us and divide the vote more. When you say this and people have already decided Morara for president, they get upset with it. And I have a reason why I'm saying this. And we see someone like Omtata try to fit in ODM, and those who support Omtata are pushing him. How can you not go and work with Raila? During the presidential petition, he tried to be, you remember he went with the maths, and the maths were thoroughly thrown out of the window. The reason I'm saying that deciding on a presidential candidate, even for Malia, who has already decided who they would vote for, the danger of doing that is then you lose the ground. Right now, what we have as a country are the masses. And if it was up to me, if I was an advisor to how to change Kenya, it would be let's focus on the ground. Let's forget about the presidential slot for now. And why I'm saying this is that these people are going to fight. They are going to fight for their parties. These parties have existed for 30 years. We've heard about people who con aspirants that to get a ticket, you have to give money. Is it possible to win without millions and millions of money? Yes, if you start on the ground. Wale wa Kristo, they know about the story in the Old Testament about the snake that bit you, and then to get healing, you had to look at the snake. We cannot do that in these elections, whereby we copy the same style. The media plays a very big part in false perceptions that the party that is, we have no chance, we only have a two-race horse. And a lot of us say, I wanted to vote for Ruben Kigame, for example, but he was not even in the ballot. Then there was Wajakayo, who were not sure he was really a genuine candidate, or he was there to disrupt and do the 50+1 vote. I mean, I've rambled on and on. My message is this: if we are going to get out of this oppression or political oppression, which in turn has given us economic oppression, we should stop focusing on presidential. We should start identifying at the MP level, Boni is here at the governor level, and then watajipanga in terms of party baadaye. We do party now, and we already see all the bad things that happen. Very good leaders are kicked out. I remember one time we did not want the MP that was my MP at that time, and we knew the person who had won in the nomination was the other guy. I will not name my MPs. And then they did the corruption of ODM, and they sneaked the ticket and they gave the loser. And so the people were feeling, the constituents were very upset, and very quickly that man ran and they changed the law so that if you're in a party, you can't be an independent. So it's good to be smart and decide early. If you think you are popular, because there's also conmanship by the citizen. And the last thing the previous speaker, as Isaac was saying, tukule pesa lakini to vote another way, it never works. That's also, we are teaching people not to have integrity. The young people are going to come and say, we are tribeless, we are leaderless, and then they're going to say, we are not going to be corrupt. Atukuli pesa yenu. Because that money, ni sound kama ni stories za jaba. But hiyo pesa inakuanga imegangwa, inakuanga imefanywa mambo. And if you don't believe in their culture yako, it does happen. So there's a way that money is used to contaminate our spirits. Because one, even if you don't believe in Christianity and you just believe in wrong and right, it is wrong to take money and to be bribed, because you know you are being bribed, because you know your vote is supposed to be for free. So there's hope for this country when people start getting education and how the formations work in this country. We can't just be in, because I see what is happening right now is people are in a hype. This is the person we have decided is going to be a president. And then look mbele tunapigwa na butwa. Still encourage new faces to be on the ballot. Mbona mimi kukua kiongozi? Peter asked me why I've never vied. Is one, money. Two, the matusi that comes with the elections. If you can't play dirty politics, is very hard. And that, I think that was the politics 101 for Morara when alianza kutukano. So you have to have this skin, you have to have a very spiritual moment to decide to be a leader. A very spiritual moment. because your whole life will change. Yeah, so you could try and lose. So instead of having so many people who say it's me because I'm a Gen Z or I'm a millennial, it's just good to be realistic and know it is possible to win an election without money, but it cannot be done on top of cars. There has to be, I won't share all the strategies that I know that have worked on this platform, but it is possible to use other methods rather than kupatia watu matangi, sijui kupatia watu ng'ombe. There are other methods that can work. And in this era of social media, it's going to be easier and easier. The problem with Kenyan is the voter. And the leaders are figured. There's a young man who came here, I think it's Daniel. And sorry if I'm calling you young and you're not young. But Daniel, you had a point. There's no excuse of not being voting. It's your civic duty. And Daniel was on point on one thing. Daniel said the formations of government, the president, woos the leaders. He does not bother with the constituents. So that's where the power is, the wananchi. So that any leader you sense and you smell ametuma kuja kuwadanganya, that one will not even get votes. And the church is also used to get votes. So those are the people, the places that you'll target. That's what I'm saying. There are other strategies other than standing on top of cars and using a lot of money and printing lesos and putting mafuta sijui jina yako vikombe. I will be a happy Kenyan. I'll die happy if I see a Kenya where that rubbish, upuzi, ya kudanganya wamama na kikombe na leso comes to an end. And I wish everyone who is going to be in the leadership well. And if you mean well for Kenya, I'll be a phone call away to give you a few tips. Asante.
Santi, for that Demta, of course, you get us to 8:21. Now, Nadia Kwapevaito, who are you? Jinakeni, who are you last seen? You've been asking for the mic quite a minute. Talk to me.
Niaje, like
Poa
hope
sana.
unanisikia.
Mm.
Me the only thing yenye naweza uliza, I know it's hard na imekuwa too tough, but the only thing naweza taka tu ni soon, very soon I'll be calling out for a protest. Na hii si joke, and I know most of you will question me, which I'm like, it's cool. But whatever we are fighting for right now, and the way that we win, ni protest too. And as the lady mwenye alikuwa anaongea sasa akasema like you have to pray dirty. I don't want to talk much because today actually I've been busy. I feel exhausted. Sina hiyo energy Peter. But I think we need to pray dirty. And about the impeachment of Gachagua, hiyo itakuwa ya kesho. Nataka tu kuwa hint. Huyo jamaa anafaa impeachiwe. Si ati niko side government. I'm not, but I will explain tomorrow why anafaa ku impeached. Because kama hata ku impeached atakuwa like a very very big problem to us, na ataleta a lot of challenges. So like as you focus na hiyo picture yenye like walituwekea tuone, na mimi nimekuwa nikifocus na bigger picture. And after Mashujaa Day, honestly speaking, I'll try to call out for a protest. Because actually everyone else is trying to inject, they are giving civic education, and whereas they are injecting, like, and una-injectaje na disease aishi, stop showing us the problem, come up with a solution. Naona? So tomorrow kwa hiyo space yako nita make sure nitakama and I'll explain why Gachagua is supposed. I'll call out for a protest. I will. I don't care what they do.
Sawa. Stay on the. Thank you for that. But we still want to save the time and get to finish this topic of today. We'll see you tomorrow. Who are you? Malia.
Yes, I wanted to tell the aspirants who are here that us who used to be in ODM, we don't have a party. So you can start by collecting us. Tukua kwa hiyo party yenu sijui ni inject ama ni gani. Hatuna party sahi. We are orphans. So na tuko wengi, by the way, tuko wengi sana. So you can start there. Those are 3 votes, very loyal votes. Na to reach out to us tupate. We are also not feeling nice not having a party. Kama tunaweza pata mtu mwenye anaweza kutuadopt, you can be very happy. Thank you.
Mi naona hiyo story ya kuadaptiwa na party ni mzuri sana, and of course you can choose a party of your own. Kenya is a democracy, as you all say. Muhimu ni uko mwisho, what is the end game for all of us. Now I have a very important question here from Wanjira Maina to the one and only Boni. In the spirit of campaign financing, please ask Boni how he's financing his own campaign and who his running mate is. And please ask him how he has been involved in the revolution or the movement before or after the protest, and how he's working for or with the youth. Boni, very powerful question for you.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, so you're asking about how I plan to finance my campaign, right? Then you asked if I have to set on a running mate, and finally, how I was involved with the what's been going on in Kenya in the last couple of months. So let me start off with the last question first. Although I live in Texas, I try to maintain my connection with my country. I watch Kenya news. I talk to family and friends. I visit Kenya several times a year. I have investments in Kenya, so it's almost like I'm there, right? And so everything that's going on in the country in terms of the struggles and the challenges that every Kenyan is facing are things that I've also faced, right? I've run a business even from here, employed people. So I am very familiar with the issues that are facing your average Kenyan. Over the last few months, when Kenyans were going to the streets to protest, I was heavily involved in, for example, discussions on X and other places about what the key issues are. In fact, I formed a lot of friendships over the last 4 or 5 months, and I've always thought about Kenya. I've always thought about how to help. But that's when I really developed this interest in trying to spend my time and finding a way to add value, right? So I am not a politician. I'm not someone who ever thought about going into politics. I spent my entire life trying to be private, trying to mind my own business, trying to develop a career and just pursue my ambition as an individual. But what I realized is that you will never be able to escape politics. You can't shut off your life from politics. Because when I'm trying to mind my own business and develop a project for myself, and I cannot do that because the governor and the people that are in office are using that office to sort of extort people. So I'm not able to hire the people that I need to hire. So the people that need the opportunity to get a job and provide for their families, they can't do that. To me, that tells me that I cannot avoid politics, right? And so I've had my own experience over the last year or two dealing with the county government, and that led me to start thinking about how we can change things because, again, I was born in Kenya, but I've lived in the U.S. and Canada for a long time. I'm used to walking to a government office, and if you need services, you walk in, they tell you you need X, Y, Z, you provide it, and you're out in 5 or 10 minutes. I'm not used to bribing people, right? That's not something that I'm used to. So when I think about all the challenges that are facing Kenyans, and having spent a lot of time, for example, listen to the meetings were held when people are going to the streets, I really became convinced that I have to get involved one way or the other. And I started with providing my civic education that you guys have all become familiar with. And then just doing that, I also became convinced that my duty as a Kenyan citizen, and I challenge all of us to think that way, is that we are not just here to document what's happening to us. We're not here to just count the losses and count all the pilferage of public resources that's taking place. I think we owe ourselves more than that. We have the power to change what's happening to us, right? We have the power to change that. I 100% believe that. And so I asked, if you follow my analysis, I asked Kenyans to think about how they themselves can step up and be the change that we need, right? We can't just all come here and spend a lot of time complaining about poor leadership and corruption and incompetence when we believe that we can do better and we're not offering ourselves, right? I want to provide people an opportunity to see a different kind of leader, right? So that when you go to that ballot box, you have an option. You have an option. And if you look at my analysis, I spend time, besides just telling you what's happening, I try to paint a picture of what life can be when your politics and your government is dominated by people that understand what it means to be a public servant. When your life and politics is not dominated by criminals and crooks. And so that's why I'm involved in this, right? I have not decided who I'm going to run with because I need to vet the individual. But I do believe that I want someone who, first of all, who's a public servant. That's what I want. I want someone who's a public servant. I want someone who's ambitious. I want Kenyans to be ambitious people, meaning that do not accept mediocrity from your government. Do not accept mediocrity. When you go to a school and the school does not have desks, when you go to a school and the school does not have equipment, that's not acceptable. That is not acceptable. And I want Kenyans to be ambitious people. Hold your county government and other leaders accountable. Do not accept mediocrity. When I go to Kiambu and I'm walking around and I'm seeing latrines with MCA's names on them, right? They're telling that this is what we've done for you. Like, what kind of nonsense is that? We deserve better, and we should demand better. We cannot settle for stuff like that. When your government is spending hundreds of millions on border, look, I'm okay with, you want to make sure that you are inclusive in terms of accounting from an economic standpoint, but we cannot spend scarce dollars on nonsensical stuff, right? And so, I say all that to say that the candidate that I'm going to run with is going to be someone who is on the same page as me in terms of what priorities are. I want someone who has never ever had any accusation or allegation of corruption, because to me, this election that we're having coming up in 2027 it's gonna be a watershed moment. It's, in my view, this back and forth and all these discussions that we're having, including on this call, it's about what kind of country we want to be. What kind of country are we going to be? Are we going to be a country where 1 or 2% of the population steals everything and leaves everyone trying to eke out a living? Or are we going to be a country where the average citizen has an equal shot in terms of opportunities to pursue life, right? Are we going to be a country that's lawless? Are we going to be a country where we are dominated by crooks and criminals? Are we going to be a country where, law and civil behavior prevails, right? Make no mistake about it. This election is about the character of our country. And so the people that we are going to elect needs to reflect that. They need to reflect the very best among us, people that are ambitious, people that are honest, people that are public servants. In terms of how to fund the campaign, obviously I'm not a billionaire. I have not. I don't have the benefit of having a lot of money because I have not been involved in corruption and stuff like that. I believe that if I have a winning message and I can talk to you and your neighbor, and I can tell you where I'm trying to take our county, that we're going to be on the same page. And I'm going to be asking for your help. I'm going to be asking for help from a lot of you. I can't do it alone. It's very expensive to get your message out. But I believe that when you have a winning message and you talk to people like you and I, we can change the country, we can change our county, and that's what I aspire to do.
Okay, I see Wanjira is looking at I can't wait to unmute her mic. Wanjira, talk to us. What's up?
Yeah, Pipi, Bonnie, thank you. Now, the reason I asked this question is because I believe that the movement is both ideological but also physical. Ideological in the sense that we have to have winning strategies. We have to fight them on all fronts at the Senate, in court, in people's assemblies, in social justice centers. That is one. But physical in the sense that, for example, on Sunday we shall be going to Uhuru Park for the Mashujaa Day, for the People's Mashujaa Day, because now there's the National Mashujaa Day, which the Crooks will be holding, I think, in Taita Taveta. Is it Taita Taveta or is it in Kilifi? And then the People's own Mashujaa Day will be in Uhuru Park, where we actually celebrate the Shujaas, our own Shujaas who put their bodies in the way while people were marching to Parliament and elsewhere. And that's the physical aspect of this, that you cannot hide in your house where it's safe and expect us to believe that you are part of us. And I remember people were asking Morara very direct questions. For example, you're telling us to crowdfund for you. Have we seen you at protests? And Pipi, I have not decided who I am voting for. I think, like Redemptor said very correctly, it is far too soon, far too early to call it. But one thing I will be looking at is how have you involved yourself in the movement? And not just ideologically for you to tell us this is what we should do at social justice centers. It is, have I seen you walk, a very dangerous path, a very, a path, a very dangerous place, which is the streets. Where we, millions of us have marched and we shall continue to march. Have I seen you involve yourself, for example, in getting justice for the families of people that have been murdered by the police on the streets? And that is why I asked that question to Boni. What contribution has he made to this movement that is substantive? How have the youth felt his impact? Or how does he hope to have the youth feel his impact, even those that are not from Kiambu County? How have the youth felt his impact? Not just sitting and contributing in spaces. For example, has he funded doctors that were giving people pro bono services at what is the name of the church in town? Has he funded lawyers that are representing protesters in court? Has he bought vuvuzelas and water and flags for protesters that will be on the streets? That is what I am asking him. Because it is one thing for you to say you have exchanged thoughts with people. It is another thing. If you're not here, you're in Texas or where you are, how have you actually contributed to the people that are putting themselves in the line of fire? And for me, I will be looking at that when I am voting, and I'm sure other people will too. So perhaps, Bonnie, you can answer me that question, or even if you have not, how do you hope to going forward?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Awesome. So you're asking an important question, but I want to challenge you a little bit. We as individuals have different, we have different talents, we have different capabilities, we have different or varying amounts of resources. We cannot all contribute the same way. And I believe that asking, coming up with one standard and saying that I'm going to judge your contribution based on the way I see it. For example, if you believe that the best way for me to contribute is to send money to a hospital or to provide injured people with healthcare service, that's one way of doing it, but that's not the only way of doing it. I have been involved in this struggle. I have spent, if you follow what I've been doing over the last few months, you see that I'm spending a lot of my time. I spend probably 40 hours a week researching how your government is behaving with your money, chasing down corruption, keeping these people accountable. That is not something to sniff at. Not many people are spending 40 hours of their time every week trying to hold their leadership accountable. I'm doing that, and I don't ask anyone. I've never asked anyone for contribution. I've never asked anyone to send me anything. I do that as service to my country. And I don't need anyone to thank me for that. But that's my way of doing it. Besides doing that, one of the things that I'm doing is I have formed with a group of very smart individuals to spend time to come up with solutions for some of our pressing issues. You might have that, but let me just, take this opportunity to tell you. For example, our country has serious issues when it comes to, for example, the size of too big. Our country is spending too much more resources in this stage of government. That is a serious issue that's eating up resources that could be going to your to your school in your neighborhood. Money that's being spent on this to maintain this big system of government that could be funding your hospital, right? That could be funding the development of your roads. You need people that are going to come in, think about solutions for some of these things, and then bring those, or try to work to bring those changes so that that money is freed up to go and serve you, right? But it's not something that you can see, right? So I'm spending a lot of time with these Kenyans doing that. Again, I spend probably 40 or 50 hours of my time every week on some of these issues. The work that I do to bring your leaders to account in every county, the national government, at the county level, that's not something that you can ignore, right? And although I get a lot of Kenyans thanking me for that, I don't need to be thanked. And so, I do think the questions that you're asking are important, but I want to challenge you a little bit to ask you to be more open-minded. Do not come up with one standard and say, I'm going to judge you by asking you, why are you on the streets? Or, did you send money to go to a hospital? We contribute in different ways. We all contribute in different ways, right? Some people, you can make a contribution just by retweeting a message that you think is important and you spread the message. I'm spending time looking at how your government is spending your money, making sure that the next time your county government is budgeting, they're going to think about the fact that they're going to end up, I'm going to end up reviewing what they're doing, right? The fact that they think about that as they're spending your money, the next time your government is thinking about sending a contingency of 20 or 30 people to a nonsensical trip somewhere, they're going to think about that. And when they think about that and they save that money ends up providing services to your school, to your hospital. So I'm making changes today. And I think that that's not something that we can ignore.
All right. Daniel, your hand is up. What's up?
Yeah, I wanted to ask Bonnie something, and please excuse me, I'm speaking out of ignorance here and more of curiosity. It's just a thought that popped up. But do you think, since you said you're going to run and you've been away for a while, especially for Kiambu, do you think being someone that left, like a diaspora person, obviously you've had interactions, obviously you've launched some or diplomacy to the ground for you to know how it is, for you to say you're going to vie, obviously you've touched bases with the ground to know how it is, but do you think that especially I'm going to speak from a Mount Kenya perspective, because there are regions that are very remote where the guy who left and comes back, that's a huge plus. But for Kiambu, like Mount Kenya places, is that usually a stumbling block? Or do you, like, when you come back, do you have to like adopt an alter ego for guys to listen? Because you're going up against the place where the Waititus were there and the like guys who are severely local. Do you think that is a plus, a minus, or something you need to strategize around? As in, does it work for you or against you? Is it even an issue? Like, I'm just speaking from ignorance here. I'm thinking, do you have to show up and like pick up an alter ego, or do you need like a local deputy? Like, what's your plan around that? Because I honestly don't know. I'm just thinking off the top of my head from my experiences. The guys in Mount Kenya, the guy who left comes back in other communities that are very remote, Ukoma, Mandera, Savo, those really remote places might be a plus. For Mount Kenya, is it a plus?
I'm going to answer your question in a little bit of an unorthodox way. So you're used to seeing people, politicians that are desperate to win those positions. Because they're desperate, they will do anything to win. I'm not one of those people. I'm never going to do something that I will not be proud of. I don't have to come and get that government job. To be honest with you, I'm doing okay in America, right? I will be taking a significant pay cut to come and run and become governor. But I'm thinking about this as an opportunity to make changes that are going to change lives, right? I want my legacy to be, I was able to come and transform lives. That's why I'm interested in doing this. So because of that, I'm gonna focus on communicating my vision to the people. And if people find that compelling, then I believe that I'll prevail. But I'm not going to run a traditional campaign. So I'm not going to try to be, what your traditional person is going to do. I recognize that I've been, I've lived in America for a long time. I probably don't sound like your typical traditional politician, but I'm not going to try and change myself, right? I want to talk to you about my vision and what I think we can do better. And if you find that compelling and if you feel like you want to, give me a shot, then let's do it. But I can tell you right now that I'm not going to try and be your traditional politician.
Yeah, but
that's not going to
but
be.
but when you get here, do you need to like adopt an alter ego kind of thing so that you can like reach the ground? Because I'm just thinking from a
Absolutely not.
campaign point of view.
Absolutely.
There's
I'm going to be
and
meeting people like you.
yeah?
My goal and my strategy is going to be to talk to every voter. I'm going to try to, I talk to someone like you. I stop you. I talk to you about what's pressing to you, right? What challenges you have as a citizen of that county, what you want to see in government. And I tell you what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. If I can talk to people like, I don't need anything else. We don't need, I don't need to hire, McKinsey or Bain and Company to tell me what I need to do. I've spent enough time talking to people, in that county. I know, generally speaking, what the people want, and I'm gonna keep investing more time to make sure that I understand that even better. And I'm gonna talk to you and I, and your neighbors, right? We're gonna have a discussion around what are their priorities. So that's all that matters to me, right? If I can talk to Wanjira here and she can tell me about the things that are important to her, and I talk to her neighbor, right, and other people, I will know what's important, right, and I'll make sure that my the values that I bring to that office reflect what the vast majority of the people want. So that's what I care about for. I'm not gonna try to be someone different, right? I was talking to one person who told me the other day that people want to be able to pick up the fact that maybe I sound a little different, my accent is a little different, right? And I said, hey, that's who I am. If Kenyans want to focus on how you sound, right? That's fine. They're more than more than free to do that. But that's the wrong choice. I think you need to look at the individual. What does it stand for? What is he saying that he wants to do? What has he done in the past, right? Does he have the right temperament? Does he have the right values, right? What's his vision? Does that make sense for us, right? That's what I want you guys to think about. And if we focus on that, I think that it'll be a different election this time.
Okay, thank you so much, Boni, for that submission. I see Daktari Onyango has joined us here on Home Run. You're about 30 minutes to the top of the hour. Daktari, habari yako?
Mzuri sana Pipi, habari ya leo?
Njema kabisa, nashukuru. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Okay, talk to me. Kwa hizi history ya leadership and all.
Yeah, history of leadership. I know we left it. I had wanted to come in earlier so that I would get how we proceed from where we left yesterday. But I am glad to be here and to see seasoned speakers like Boni, my friend Boni Mwangi, and others. I also was able to hear someone speak to the issue of money and the cost of running and sustaining a campaign. And I think that is the one point I'd wanted to speak about, because most young people fear that it would be too costly. And not even young people, most new emerging leaders fear because of the cost associated with running a politics. And indeed, it is true that our politics has been commercialized so much, and that is something that we have to work to change, and it will take time for us to change it. But I'm glad she noted that even in the previous election, there were a few exceptions who were able to run successfully without necessarily having money. So the question I was asking myself is, how did they make it? Yeah, one of the reasons they made it is because they associated themselves with they rode on the profile of the parties that they were running on, in the last elections, like somebody I think mentioned Toto in Bomet. I think it might not because of the UDA wave in that region, she would not have been able to make it. Yeah, and we have had a few people here and there that we can speak about. But if they were exceptions because they rode on a wave of a party, and to me, I think what prevents us from doing that in mass in 2027, don't we have a chance now, 3 years before the election, or slightly over 2 years before the election, to be able to build a wave, a movement, a formidable movement that you will not necessarily need to have money in 2027 for you to be able to win an election? Can't we not? I think we are having a rare opportunity to be able to build a people's movement. I spoke to it briefly yesterday. And the fact that the things that have happened, to me, they have happened right on time for us to be able to prepare ourselves, unless we are removing Ruto before 2027. But if we are working with 2027 in mind, then I think these things happened right on time. Yeah? Even Raila has just stepped on the other side and created another vacuum that we should rise to fill. Yesterday, I was telling you we need to how we need to build a people's movement and even have a people's president, because Raila abdicated the responsibility that he was given to be the people's president. So to me, I see a huge opportunity, and a rare one for that matter. Now that the old politicians have, I think the equation would have been more complicated if Raila was still in his side away from the government. But now that he also jumped with his team on the other side, then it means when we're cooking, we're going to cook them all together. So it doesn't complicate. To me, I think it doesn't complicate. It just gives us an opportunity to be able to create a very formidable alternative movement that can be able to mobilize resources on its own and give emerging leadership a chance, a platform. Whether you have money, enough money or not, of course, money will be important, but we must ensure that you don't have to spend a fortune to become a member of parliament. If you run an MMP's election for 50 million and you are going to have to earn 1 million per month, in gross salaries, then you need 50 months. 50 months is how many years? That is like the entire term. So that is why these people have captured everything. Yeah. In my other life, I have tried construction business, and call contracts that before the contracts are announced, they already know that they belong to some politicians. And if you are not able to, get those politicians so that you can buy those exchange money, literally buy a contract from them, especially road construction and all these major projects where there is a lot of money, you can never get them. So you find they will be advertised through KERA, through KURA, Kenya Rural Roads Authority, Kenya Urban Roads Authority, but the politicians own those contracts because they've captured everything, because they have to recover that money that they spent, that they invested, so to speak, campaigning. So we have to convince Kenyans. Wakileta pesa ni sawa kwa sababu hao wameiba ya kutosha, lakini sisi hatuna pesa hakuna pesa tumeiba. So we'll have to be truthful with Kenyans and tell them that is why civic education is necessary, especially to the grassroots level, so that we can break it down to the people and tell them, hey, how much, tupige tu hesabu nao muulize, in one election cycle, how much money have you earned from a politician? Apige tu hesabu, tuone ni pesa ngapi, and then we try to reason with them. What can that money do for you in life at the expense of all these things? You lose healthcare, your roads are terrible, and all these are the things that we see. So to me, I see a chance, a very rare opportunity for us to be able to come together, like I was saying yesterday, properly organize and strategize, mobilize resources together as a party or as a movement, and be able to run on the platform of that movement to win election. And that will be a big message to Kenyans, and it will be a big step in decommercializing our politics. Otherwise, if we continue the trend, then it is not going to be possible. Let us stop. I've been in forums where a few of our people who are interested in politics or to run. Maybe that is why, Peter, not many people are showing up, because on many spaces, I have even heard where people with political ambitions have been told, "Sisi, we are partyless. We don't want anything. If you want to run, go and run an independent campaign." And we know that many of our emerging leaders are able to run an independent campaign successfully. So we must be able to advise people the right way. Those of us who are, I don't know how many people have shown up today who are interested in politics, but we must be able to guide them the right way. Team up together, build a movement upon which you can mobilize resources. Kenyans of goodwill will support you, both Kenyans in Kenya and Kenyans in the diaspora. Friends of Kenya from elsewhere of integrity will show up, so that as a movement, a legitimate movement, if we are able to build a movement that also wins then I'm sure even the money will not be a problem to raise. So that is, to me, what I think we should do. And I did say yesterday that now we must begin to build a people's movement. Yeah, we must be able to get this movement. Let's not concentrate on individuals. So and so is going to be our president. So and so is our, let us build all the forces that have come up together. The Moraras, the Okiya Omtatas, all the leaders that have come up from our movement need to come together and be able to build a movement, first of all, because we said yesterday that presidency is just one, but we have 290 constituencies to win. And we have 1,450 MCAs across the country. So the earlier we started concentrating about how by now, by the end of this year, we'll be counting how many MCAs do we have? How many MCAs as a movement can we win out of the 1450? Yeah, how many of the 290 constituencies can we win as a movement? Yes, then as time goes by towards 2027, presidential candidates will show up. And amongst all of them, we will encourage everyone with the presidential ambitions and with the proper leadership abilities and people of integrity to show up. Then the movement will run up, will decide who are we going to support for president. Yeah, and these mechanisms can be able to decide amongst the people who will have shown up on our side who we are going to front as a presidential candidate. By that time, we should have had at least 70% of parliament and at least 70% of the MCAs across the country, because we have the numbers, we have the skills. There is nothing that prevents us from dominating those assemblies and the national in parliament. And time comes. So, Pipita, you've been here from the beginning. I know you know the people who've shown up who have said they're interested in politics, and we say that you may not only want to become a candidate, perhaps you are good at strategy. You are good at something that you can be able to sit down and help these people who want political ambitions to build strategy, advice and systems that are going to help us, mobilization. We all need all those kinds of people on board so that we can be able to build a formidable campaign against Ruto in 2027. I think that is all I may have to say for now, since I missed a lot. I don't want to delve into other points at the risk of being repetitive. But thank you, Pipita, for the work you're doing. And we need to do more in terms of identifying emerging, training, mentoring, radicalizing them, mobilizing resources on the platform of a national movement, and then giving people a chance to ride on the platform of that movement and the wave thereof to be able to enter in mass, or to be able to occupy parliament and county assemblies in mass in 2027. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daktari, for that submission. It gets us to exactly 1 minute to the 9 p.m. Thank you so much for having being here with us today, the speakers. And of course, before we even go any further, Bonnie, I want to ask you one last question before we call it a night here. We had a few people come over. Maybe they thought we were going to be very tough on them. I just wanted to hear what wenye wanataka kukuwa leaders. I have a question from Redemptor to you, Bonnie, and Auliza. Question for Bonnie: is governor for first time not being an overambitious? Don't you think you're being overambitious going for governor, Bonnie?
Thank you for the question. So I have to drop, but I appreciate the opportunity to answer this question. I'm not running for office just for the sake of it. So the idea that I go run for, let's say, to be a member of parliament, just so I can tell myself that it's fine. That's not. I'm a very different kind of candidate. I go there because I have ideas, and I have a vision that I want to implement. And the only place for me to do that, to be honest with you, is to be a governor, because then you can make, our challenges are the fact that we don't have people that know how to prioritize. I spend a lot of time complaining about people lacking common sense and business sense, making priorities, the right priorities. That's where I can make. I'm an economist by training. That's what I've done. I'm a certified public accountant as well. So the biggest impact that I can do for our citizens to be able to make the right calls, to be able to allocate resources where they need to go to make sure that we better the public interest. So I have no reason to want to run for MP, because I don't want to be there just criticizing other people. I want to be there to make the right calls. And I think that the best place to do for me to start to do that is to be governor, to be honest with you. And that's why I'm running for governor.
Okay, thank you so much for that, and also indulging us, Bonnie, today on this one. Big Boss.
Naam, Pipi, siku zote brother, sijai kosa message ya kuacha, na message yangu ni moja: Wakenya ni sisi tu tulojichanganya tukajisaliti. Narudia, ni sisi tulojichanganya tukajisaliti. Hakuna siku hata moja nyoka atageuka samaki aliwe, haikumu. Na hakuna siku hata moja shetani atageuka awe malaika mkweli, awe malaika mzuri. Kila mtu tumbakishe tu kwa sehemu yake. Natumai nitakuwa nimemalizia. Ujumbe wa leo nimeuachia hapo.
Okay, asante sana, the Big Boss, and of course kwa wale watu ambao wamechangia, all the people that have spoken to us today. Thank you so much for finding time to talk to us. This is Home Run Pipi. We come to you each and every weekday from 4 p.m. all the way to 9 p.m. East African time. I'll have to drop today and go and prepare myself, because tomorrow we are going to be having a full day following up the parliament sagas, of course, going on with the impeachment of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Of course, we'll be giving you a chance to comment on that later on in the night. But also, yote tisa kumi ni kwamba nimefurahia sana kwa wale ambao wanataka kuwa leaders and maybe they did not have a chance or did not have the courage to speak because spaces have become hostile. I hope the next time when you organize this conference, your leadership, I'm going to get more people who are interested in leadership to come over and come and talk to us, because we cannot say we want to change and we do not have an option. It's like saying, I want you to stop doing this, and then you do not have anything to give me as an alternative. But as you've heard, right now we need to educate, and the leaders will definitely show up. So first of all, as Dr. has said, let us occupy parliament. Let us occupy parliament. And not this one, tunaenda na maandamano. Let us occupy with the right leaders, the leaders that we know are pro-people, because we have agreed that the 14th, this is the 13th or 14th parliament, is the worst Kenyan has ever had in the history of parliament. So it's our chance for us to turn this tide around. Yes, let's turn this tide around. And of course, naambia kwamba show yetu inasapotiwa na nyinyi wasikilizaji. If you like what I am doing, there is a tip jar line. And the reason why I have a tip jar line is because I realize that whoever gives you money controls you. So I'd rather the listenership controls me than be controlled by other people outside the movement. And of course, these ones are the people who will now shape the conversations hapa. Wao ndo watatuambia, oh, Pipita anataka leo uongea kuhusu this, and of course Now that will now dilute the message of this civic education platform. So yeah, for those who like what I'm doing, there's a tip line there. You can always go in there and support. Unaangusha pale tip yenye unaweza, to help keep the lights on. On this other side of the studio, I don't have much, but to thank you and wish you a great night today. I'm going to the other side of the studio to finish the visual project that is HRWP. I have my guests. Yeah, last weekend I had a political analyst, of course, Obeds, and of course, one Ray, who is also a lawyer. You'd love to see that. That video comes on tomorrow morning. Nimekuwa nikifanya kazi. Last weekend tumeshoot mpaka saa 6 ya usiku. Nimeachilia timu ya kushoot. So yeah, so I'll be releasing that video on YouTube tomorrow. Make sure you check out. It's of course the history of impeachment of deputy presidents in the country. That is the video I'm going to be working on tonight before I get to sleep. Yeah, so we work 24 hours on this other side. But yes, it's amazing. It's amazing when you like what you're doing. So make sure you also subscribe to our YouTube channel, HRWP. It's on my pinned tweet. Make sure you also follow me for more. Tomorrow morning, we will be live here again, ndani ya bunge, tukiangalia nini inaendelea pale hivi ndani. Sarakasi gone Sarakasi, of course. Yes, to all those who have been listening to us till 4 p.m., since 4 p.m. up until now, asante sana, Mungu awabariki, and have a great evening. Thank you so much, everybody, and bye-bye. Be safe.
Social conversations, engaging topics on your phone anywhere. This is Home Run with PP.